if you're watching and you're in the membership program, make sure everybody puts their chat in the YouTube chat. That's going to be the source of truth for all questions throughout this masterclass. It's hard for me to like keep an eye on Slack and also look at the YouTube stream. So I'm going to be looking at the YouTube chat for all the official questions. We got a lot to cover tonight. I'm super excited to go through all this. We're going to hold most of the questions till the end. I'll stop and check on it periodically, you know, as we're going through, just because it's hard to like watch questions and you know, implement this live in real time. So we'll pause for questions here and there, but we'll take a majority of the Q&A towards the end of the session here. The other thing is, you know, if you're not in the membership program, you just showed up for the one-time masterclass tonight and you want to join the membership program, you can just reach out to gregory@dappuniversity.com. We can get you taken care of there. And, you know, tonight, you don't have to be an advanced coder to learn how to do this stuff. We've done most of the hard work for you, okay? We're going to show you how to set this up. You know, you're going to get an inside look at how NFTs work. You're going to get the code solution to deploy it to a blockchain and create a website and put it in your own mobile wallet tonight. That being said, if you want to learn, you know, more advanced topics on this kind of stuff, you can certainly jump in that membership program. But if you want the step-by-step program on how to become a blockchain developer, there's a link down below the embed page for this video tonight, so where you can get a discount to join that bootcamp program. So last piece of housekeeping is, I know this is all the boring stuff, but I just want to get it out of the way because I'm super excited to jump into NFTs. Let's see here. I'm checking my notes here. Actually, that's it. All the boring stuff's over. So let's just talk about really quickly what we're going to learn. So number one, we're going to clear everything up. Like, what is an NFT? All right. What can you use them for? I'm sure there'll be lots of people here who already understand this stuff, lots of, you know, blockchain developers, but there's going to be new people here, and we don't want to assume that anybody knows something they may not. So we'll get past the basics pretty fast, onto the good stuff, but I just want to make sure everybody's, we're all on the same page before we get to that part. We're going to talk about like what's driving this craze. And then finally, you know, we're going to set this up, show you how to create your own. Smart contracts, so you can add your own custom artwork, put it on a blockchain. We're even talking about some solutions on how to deal with these crazy high gas fees that are going off the Ethereum network right now. Like I said, we've done most of this hard work for you. You don't have to be an advanced coder. As long as you can follow step-by-step instructions, you should be good to go. And, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to customize this more and get more technical, and you don't want to, you know, get off into the weeds in the coding, you've got, you know, about 80 people who are watching the stream right now who I'm sure would jump at the chance to help you customize your project. So now I want to introduce our guests. We got a couple special guests on the stream here. Let me kill my screen share here. All right, so the first guest I want to introduce tonight is Mr. Austin Griffith. So I'll brag on Austin a little bit. I'll kind of give him his introduction, then I'll let him talk more. But Austin is supported by the Ethereum Foundation. He's the NFT master. Okay, we're going to let him talk about the NFTs some tonight. He's also the creator of Scaffold.eth, which is a really cool Ethereum development toolkit for building dApps, full stack dApps. I'll let him talk some about that. So welcome, Austin.
Word, thanks for having me, man. I'm definitely not an NFT expert. I'm like an OG. I've deployed some artisanal NFTs back in the day, but I'm not an expert. But we'll be able to go through things tonight, and I'm excited to work through it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally. Austin's also a fellow educator in this space. Got a great YouTube channel. He does regular blockchain trainings. So definitely talk about that. Go check out Austin's stuff. You know, yeah, great guy, great all-around guy. So we're super excited to have him on to support us tonight. Also, Peter, you might, if you're in the membership program, you might see him floating around, especially in the bootcamp program, really helping out with technical support. He did a lot of the heavy lifting for the project tonight. So welcome, Peter.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
Yeah, totally. So Peter's my right-hand man, and he's going to be here to support us in case we run into any, you know, technical problems tonight on the stream with the coding implementation. So. All right, let's just take a look here and monitor the chat. Everybody's good. Looks like everybody's excited. Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it because I know there are people on the stream tonight who are all over the world. I saw some people in the chat room saying, "Hey, it's like 4:30 in Moscow, 4:30 a.m." Some people are saying it's late for them, early for them, wherever they are. So let's jump into the good stuff. Okay, let me share my screen here. All right, there we go. Everybody see my screen okay? Austin, we good?
Yep, I got you.
Cool. So let's talk about this crazy NFT craze that's going on right now, because we've seen some digital artwork sell for as high as $650,000 in Ether just a few weeks ago. This is an NFT project called the Hash Masks. Okay, we've seen lots of other NFT projects on this come into space, like original NFT projects before we even had ERC-721 tokens, like CryptoPunks. Some of these are selling for $1 million. There's two ways to say this, apparently. There's a lot of people call them Euler beats. Apparently, the correct pronunciation is Euler beats. Okay, this is a mathematician. That's how they pronounce his name, apparently. But this is another example of NFT artwork with music, with sound. Okay, so all this stuff is just going nuts. All right, it's a huge trend that we're a part of right now. But there's a common thread through all of these that's a underlying piece of technology powered by smart contracts. And they all work approximately the same way with some slight differences. And that's the core of what you're going to learn tonight, is how those work, how to create your own, how to set up a website, how you can sell them. Because that's ultimately what's going on here. You can sell original pieces of artwork, collectibles on the blockchain. They don't have the same like regulatory hurdles as selling a cryptocurrency on the blockchain. So it's something that, a lot of people are going to be really interested in. People are interested in buying NFTs because you're going to have a lot of people who are interested in those who aren't interested in cryptocurrency, right? A whole market of people who don't care about, buying Bitcoin, don't care about, DeFi or anything like that, who would potentially be interested in this. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I'm super excited to show you how this works. And let's jump in and get started. So let's start off with NFTs in general. Okay, like what are they? We've talked about it a little bit, but let's get a really specific definition. So an NFT just stands for non-fungible token. All right. So what does that mean? Well, the important word here is fungible. It's a funny word, right? What does that mean? Well, in order to stand non-fungible, let's start off with fungible. So fungible it's a quality. It's an adjective, like fungibility. Okay, so what is fungibility? Well, fungibility means that something can just be exchanged for something else like it. So I'll give you an example. Cryptocurrencies are fungible. So think about Bitcoin. If you were to trade Bitcoin for another Bitcoin, you could do that without any loss, right? It doesn't matter which Bitcoin I have. If I have the first Bitcoin ever created or the last Bitcoin that was just recently mined, it doesn't matter. You can trade those Bitcoins for one another. They're worth the exact same thing. Now, think about trading cards, for example. Think about Pokemon cards. So not all Pokemon cards are worth the same, even though they belong to the same family, the same collection, right? Holographic Charizard isn't worth the same as some other, regular card. I don't know. What's a regular card, Austin? Anybody know? Somebody in the chat.
I was hoping. I got nothing, man.
Somebody in the chat tell me, like, what's a not very valuable Pokemon card? It's been a long time since I've played with them. There's a little bit of a lag on the stream here, so we may not get some feedback for a few seconds. I don't know if Peter knows what a not very valuable Pokemon card is. It's okay. There's some lag on the stream. That's no big deal. Somebody says Pikachu.
Quick
Pikachu
Google tells me Mewtwo.
A Mewtwo?
You can get a Mewtwo for $25.
So a Mewtwo is $25. Somebody says Pidgey. Okay, so the whole idea is like you wouldn't want to swap a Charizard for a Pidgey or a Mewtwo or a Pikachu or a Rattata is what people are saying in the chat here. Okay. So that's the whole idea of non-fungible. The Charizard itself is non-fungible, right? You don't want to swap it for something else because they're worth differently. They're worth different amounts, right? There's a hierarchy inside the collection that makes things work differently. So that's what a non-fungible asset is. So non-fungible tokens are similar. You think about tokens on top of Ethereum, like DAI, for example, or let's say the Chainlink token. You can swap any Chainlink token for one another, but you can't swap a hash mask, a valuable hash mask, for like a floor hash mask, or not so valuable hash mask. That's the whole idea. Looks like everybody's with us right now. Okay, so that's the basics about what non-fungible means, what non-fungible tokens are. So let's talk about how you create them, because there is a specific way that you're supposed to do this. All right. It's with something called ERC 721. So what is that? Pull that up on my screen here. So ERC 721 is a standard for how smart contracts are supposed to work that represent these non-fungible tokens. Okay. So these, of course, are powered by smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. They're just immutable pieces of code. They're programs that are put on the blockchain. They're written in a programming language called Solidity, mostly powered on top of Ethereum, right? That's where they started, at least. And ERC 721 is just a standard that describes how these smart contracts are supposed to work, the types of functions that they're supposed to implement inside the Solidity programming language, their function arguments, what those functions are supposed to do. The whole idea is you want these tokens to be compatible with wallets, with marketplaces, all that kind of stuff. So there's no variation. Every token should have the same interface. They should all respond to the same types of commands, and they should have a certain amount of predictable behavior for compatibility reasons. Think about we have other standards out the world like TCP/IP, so that computers can talk to one another. We have ERC20, so that tokens, work predictable way. ERC 721 is so that these non-fungible tokens work in a predictable way as well. So how do you create one of your own of these? Well, you can create it with a smart contract. So we're going to show you a smart contract in this masterclass tonight. And the cool thing about ERC 721 tokens, about ERC20 tokens, et cetera, is they're somewhat of a solved problem, okay? Because they have a very predictable behavior, you can take pre-made smart contracts and customize them yourself to create your own collectible without too much effort, right? On the grand scheme of things, right? Compared to building out something really complex all on your own. So, we talk about collectibles, NFTs or non-fungible tokens can power lots of different things besides just collectibles. They can represent insurance contracts. They can represent all kinds of things, right? But we're going to focus mostly on the collectibles, the digital artwork use cases tonight, because that's what's really hot right now. And I think that's what a lot of people want to see. So whether, you're a digital artist, you're a developer, lots of people who want to get into this, and that's the use case that we're going to focus on. So you got anything to add there, Austin? Anything I might have missed out on before we jump into the implementation here?
No, that's really good. Yeah. Just thinking of an NFT as like this unique thing with this really unique property, and a fungible asset can be traded like crazy. And an NFT is just another smart contract with a set of owners, just like an ERC20. Yeah, totally. And that's the cool thing is, that's one thing I should also mention. We'll kind of go over a diagram of what we're going to create tonight. Let's start off with the actual smart contract itself. So this is what we're going to create. And this is something that I think is important to understand when you're creating this. So the token smart contract is going to govern everything. So whenever you create multiple tokens, it's not like you're creating multiple smart contracts. It's not like you're saying, I create a new token smart contract for every single collectible that's issued. What you do is you create a single token smart contract that basically understands who owns the tokens. All right, so the token smart contract is going to say, there's
1,000 tokens in existence. This is the ID for each token. This is who owns each token. The smart contract handles all the behavior, like transferring the tokens. So it has like a transfer, basically like a transfer function on it, transfer from function that does that behavior. It has like functions that reads who owns which token. So when you pull it up in your wallet, you can look at that. It has functions so that it can be sold on a marketplace, all that kind of stuff. So it's one smart contract that handles all of that. So it's not like you have a bunch of different smart contracts for each token or anything like that. It's one token smart contract that spawns out all these different, tokens within it. Okay.
A neat thing to talk about is just like it's like a record of ownership almost, right? It's
right.
just it's even like if you go back to thinking about when I own a Bitcoin, it's not like I have a Bitcoin sitting here, right? There's just on the ledger somewhere it shows that I own a Bitcoin. And same thing with the NFTs, right? It's just a record of who owns what. And when I do a transfer, it just says change the record from he's the owner to he's the owner, and that's how a transfer works.
Right. Totally. It's almost like the smart contract is the little bank of this particular collectible, you know what I mean? And it transfers the ownership from each account. Yeah, it's cool. Awesome. So let's, so what we're going to create, we'll create that token smart contract. So we'll have the token. All right. So we're going to take this token and put it on a blockchain. Okay. And then we're going to create a website here. Okay. Where people can actually purchase the tokens. Okay, so they'll buy it. And this will transfer the token back to the user. Okay. So one thing that I want to talk about right now is how the actual images of the tokens work. So, of course, one of the core properties of these digital collectibles, digital artwork, is the actual imagery that you see. Okay. So the images don't live on the blockchain itself. That's important to understand. Some people say, what do you use the blockchain for? What do you not use it for? Well, you would never want to store an image on the blockchain. It'd basically be cost prohibitive. You know what I mean? It's the size of an image file is just way too big to realistically put on a blockchain. So we still want the token to be decentralized in that we don't want there to be a centralized failure point for the actual token itself. So the image for the token is actually going to be on something called IPFS. Okay. So what is that? Well, IPFS is the interplanetary file system. It's a way to host files in a decentralized way. So we're going to put the images for the token on IPFS, and then this token is going to talk to IPFS to retrieve that metadata or the image for the actual token. And that's what you're going to see on the website. That's what you're going to see when you hold the token inside your wallet. You can kind of think about IPFS. It works kind of like a blockchain, not really, but basically the whole idea is that there's a redundant set of nodes that manage the files. And it's a decentralized file storage network. It's not living on a server somewhere. You have anything to add to that, Austin? I know it's not the perfect explanation, but
that's great. Yeah, when you think about what it takes to shut it down, right? If you put it out on IPFS, it's a lot harder to shut down. And I think that's a key. Whenever we talk about any of these blockchain systems, it's not about resiliency in terms of like, can I take it? Like it gets to the point where after I deploy this thing, not even I can stop it, right? And I think that's a key piece to why you want to go with IPFS. And
Yeah, totally. You see some people launching NFTs where the images are hosted on a server. That's fine. Maybe if you're just testing it out. Yeah. But if you want an NFT that sort of lasts forever, so to speak, that if someone God forbid dies or something like that, you know what I mean? Like you don't want it to disappear.
There's a funny question in chat that is probably like just a thing that always happens in all NFT discussions. And I think someone said, "Can I just copy the image?" And I think that's such a fun comment.
Yeah, go for it.
And commenting, oh, I don't even know if I want to answer that, right?
Go for it.
I mean, when it comes down to it, yeah, you could totally like take the image and copy it and put it on your desktop, right? But it's the provenance, it's the token ownership. There's something to an artist being able to release their work and someone else being able to buy it from them and say that I own that thing. And I think depending on what you buy, you may be buying the rights to that and you may not, right? Like I have my artwork up here, right?
Yeah.
And it's like whenever I buy something, I put it up there. But I totally could just take a copy of something on the internet and put the picture up there, but I don't really have the token and I don't own that token and I can't resell it, right? The point of having that token is I can resell it to someone, and there's value there too. And the artist gets paid.
At the end of the day, I mean, 100% transparency, like this all is subjective value. You know what I mean? Lots of things have subjective value. So like I'm a big watch guy. Like I love to collect watches. You know, you can make a fake Rolex. So it's not the same as it's a lot easier to just copy an NFT, right? You could just literally it's stupid easy to just save the image and save it, right? You can make a fake Rolex that basically is like 99% as good as the real thing, but it's not the real thing. And you know, a very, 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 very sophisticated watch authenticator can tell you it's not the real thing. And then it's worthless at that point. So part of it is just valuing the authenticator, and the authenticator itself is the blockchain. Having that ownership and seeing it on chain is what gives it the value.
There's also scarcity too, right? Like
yes,
we can write into
scarcity.
the contract, there's only going to be 10 of these things ever. And so if there's a second copy and a third copy and a fourth copy, it's like, well, these guys aren't playing by this token's rule, and probably they don't have the rights to do that in the first place. But when you say we're only going to have 10 of these and there's only going to be 10 for the rest of the time, and it's written right into the contract and even you can't break that rule, that has a really neat effect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. And the other thing to mention, I had a thought as you were saying that.
Shoot, sorry.
No. It was a good. I mean, it'll probably come back to me, but I think that's good. The digital scarcity is the other thing to really hammer home, and I missed that, so I'm glad you brought that up. Because that is a lot of what drives this stuff is the scarcity. You think about the CryptoPunks collection. We're not going to create new CryptoPunks. You know what I mean? It's sort of an OG token. It's CryptoPunks aren't ERC 721 compatible. It's you know, something to notice there.
Can you talk about the price floor a little bit? You mentioned that for a second, but I think when talking about limits and talking about scarcity, I think the price floor is a neat thing to bring up too.
Yeah, totally. So basically the price floor, I mean, Money is just the cheapest ones, right? It's basically just saying like, these are the cheapest ones in the collection, and the price floor raises over time, basically as the collection gets more valuable. It follows a brand new set of economics, like thinking about like price anchors and stuff like that. So whenever you see the hash mess sell for a ridiculous amount of money, it basically brings the value of the entire collection up. It makes the other ones look cheap. I mean, this happens all the time in sales. So it's like they'll, you know, go back to watches. It's like the old adage is like, how do you sell a $5,000 watch? You put it next to a $30,000 watch. You know what I mean? It's like you make this look valuable because this thing looks out of reach. It's just classic perceived value. Okay, so that's a great question. Somebody's saying like, where does value come from? You know, can't you just copy and paste it? Because these are debates. I mean, there are plenty of people who just say that's dumb. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to copy and paste the image. But for every one person like that, there's plenty of other people who say the exact opposite. I mean, it's the same thing with cryptocurrency. There's plenty of people who say I'm never buying a Bitcoin that don't understand it. But there's plenty of other people, you know what I mean, who are putting billions of dollars in Bitcoin.
Maybe that's something good to lean into, talking about new money and new economies. What about like new ways for artists to connect with their communities, right? When we think about like, do we need a curation platform, or does this new technology allow an artist to just sell directly to their community, right? Like there's no middleman there. There's no one's taking rights. The artist deploys it and their community buy it.
I think that's spot on. We've seen these types of big shifts happen over the years. I mean, think about when Kickstarter came out, crowdfunding. You know what I mean? My background before I got into coding was the music world, and so Kickstarter was huge for like independent musicians because it was like, oh my gosh, like we can raise like $50,000 to make like an album and like kickstart a tour. And normally you needed a record label to do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And so this is a similar type of thing.
Think about all the weird things down the long tail that now have exposure and have a pipeline to connect to their community.
Yeah. Totally. I think that's a great point. Yeah. I appreciate you bringing that up. So let's tell you what, let's jump into some of this technical implementation because I'm sure there's lots of people who are itching to see this. So we're going to create a token. We're going to put it on blockchain. We're going to create the website for it. We're going to put the token images on IPFS. And we're going to show you how to do that. Again, we've done most of the hard work for you. If you can follow instructions and are somewhat technical savvy and are interested in this, I think you'll be good. Like basically, if you can set up a WordPress website, you can do this. And also, I will caution you, if you're not a coder yet and you start doing this, you might get bit by the bug. You know what I mean? So just full warning, you may become a coder after you see how, on the grand scheme of things, not too scary this process is. All right, so I'm going to pull up the code here. So there is a zip file down below that has the download link for the code. Let me see if it's in there. Let me just double check. Yep, it's in there. So you can download that. If you guys have any problems with that, let me know. Thanks for answering those questions in the chat, Austin. That's super helpful. I recommend probably not trying to follow along step for step while we're doing this live. There's going to be an email link shot out after this with the code and the video and everything. That's probably much easier for you to get your head around it while you're doing it by yourself. If you're in the membership program, of course, it's going to go up in the video vault after we finish tonight. But I'm going to go over it live, try to just get the high-level overview of what we're doing here, and then I highly recommend watching the replay as you want to implement it yourself. I mean, if you're a fast coder, you might be able to follow along, but don't want anybody to get too hung up, but we're trying to do this. All right, so go ahead and find that zip file, open it. We're going to do a lot of work from the terminal tonight, so if you're brand new to the terminal, it's not that scary. I've got the exact commands that you need to run inside of a setup document. So there's a link to that as well. I put a GitHub gist down below where you should see this README file. These are the instructions on how to set this up, okay? So inside of that, we're going to go ahead and follow these instructions here. The first thing is to set up the core dependency for tonight, which is Node.js. So what is that? Well, a lot of blockchain development uses JavaScript for stuff outside of Solidity to basically build the smart contracts, to write tests for them, right, create the website, all that kind of stuff. So Node.js, so JavaScript is supposed to run in your web browser, okay? But that's how it's designed. But it got used for a lot of other stuff outside of that. Node.js basically lets you run JavaScript on your computer outside your web browser. And it also lets you install the other like project dependencies for the project tonight with something called NPM. It's just Node Package Manager. So that's why we use Node. It's pretty straightforward. We can
One
run
neat
Node.
thing there is your server can be using the same kind of objects and code as your front end, right? When it's just
totally.
JSON that's getting passed back and forth, it's easy to copy and paste and bring in libraries that work in front end and back end. Before Node, it was like you would have an SQL back end and then you would have PHP in the front end, and you kind of had to write in two different languages, which we're going to do tonight anyways, but in another way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. So, go ahead and open that file. Go ahead and open it up in the terminal. We're going to make sure we got Node.js installed. If you can install it like this with the setups here with curl. or you can use NVM like it's talking about here, or you can just download from the website itself. So a lot of people probably already have Node installed who have been watching this video, who've been watching my videos or the mastery program, but these are the steps on how to do it. This is also using Node Version Manager, which lets you switch between Node versions. So I'm specifically going to use Node version 12.10.0. Unless you are a Node whiz, I highly recommend using this exact same version. I tried this in an older Node version before, and it did not work. So I only warrant Node version 12.10.0 for this particular masterclass. Okay.
Same.
So make sure you got that. You can go to terminal, type node-v to see which one you're using. If you install NVM or like they show you here, then you can easily swap between node versions. So the next thing we want to do is install the Truffle framework. So Truffle is just a framework that's going to allow us to create smart contracts on our computer, write tests for them, put them on a blockchain, all that kind of stuff. So you can just do npm install -g Truffle, okay? And that will install the latest version. I've already done it, so I'm not going to go through that on this live right now. The next thing will be to install IPFS. So we talked about how we're going to put the images on IPFS. So we're going to install this right here with a Node package. So whenever I say npm install, it's just using Node to put those new packages on the computer. So npm install, let's see here. You can literally just copy these from the documentation here. You could do npm i-g IPFS. That puts the IPFS package on your computer. Okay. So whenever you do that, you want to restart your terminal. Okay. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to like take it off screen, pretending that I'm restarting it. Okay. So that's what you'd want to do. And then there's one other package. Okay. Which is the IPFS process. Well, actually, we've already installed it. I'm sorry. We've installed the packages that we need. Okay. Now we're going to just run some different processes. I highly recommend you using new terminal tabs for this. If you're not a very sophisticated terminal user, that's okay. It's not a put down. I'm just saying if you're kind of like new, I would just open new terminal tabs. So you can do like this. If you're in most shells will have like a new window. It's like file new window here or something like that. Maybe you have tmux. If you're an advanced developer, you already know how to do this kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and open up 4 tabs here because we're going to run a couple different processes. Okay. So we're gonna run some processes on our computer. We're gonna start an IPFS node because remember I said that it's a decentralized file storage network. So we need a node, access to a node in order to put new files on that network. Okay. So we're gonna start our IPFS node like this. We use this JIPFS daemon. Okay. Get that started. All right. So it's working, and you'll see that it's ready, and there's a UI available here. I'm not going to go look at it right now. You could play around with that for homework if you want to, but you got IPFS running, or your connection to IPFS. This step right here, this is a private repository. Okay, I don't want to make this public because I didn't want people who didn't sign up for the masterclass to get this code. I wanted it exclusively for you all. So you already have step number 4 if you've opened the zip file. You've been watching this video. Okay, so just disregard this step. You've already got it. You've already, you want to enter into that directory, and you now want to do npm install. So this is going to install all the project dependencies for the class. Okay. So I've already done this again. So I'm gonna just skip this step. But you want to hit enter here. Let all the packages install. You'll see a success message. Wait for them to finish, just like any of the other tutorials that you might have done, inside the program. So now we're going to enter into Truffle's developer mode. So this is actually a new technique that Peter turned me on to. I may have been around for a while, but we're gonna do it this way. So instead of like installing a separate app to run a blockchain, we're going to enter into Truffle's develop mode like this. So Truffle develop. Okay. All right. So what this does is it starts a test blockchain. You can see it's got some accounts listed here. Okay. you can see these accounts private keys. So accounts are like usernames on the blockchain. So if you've used a blockchain wallet, you see your address here, you open one of these up, right? You see that. Then, you can use, these are like your username on the blockchain. So like your email address, something like that, right? Those are your public keys. And then you have your private keys or your accounts, which they're not really your public keys, but it's close. The private keys, which are like your password, basically. So you never want to share these private keys with anybody else. All right. These don't use these exact private keys to store real money. Whenever you, don't use these in the real world because people could steal your money. Okay. That's the whole idea. You have a test blockchain here. All these accounts have some Ether in them already. It's all fake Ether, but this is going to let you develop locally on your computer. Okay. So now let's go ahead and open up the project in our text editor. So I'm going to use Sublime Text. You can use whatever text editor you like. Some people ask me, like, what does this command mean, this subble dot? It's something called a symlink, which just lets me open any file or directory inside my text editor. I have that configured on my computer. You don't have to run that command. You can just go to your text editor and go to File, Open, or something like that, and then just open the files like that. Okay. Yeah, somebody says the GitHub repo is not found 404. So basically, yeah, you won't have access to the GitHub repo. It's a private repo. I didn't want to have to add everybody manually or something like that. So that's why we have the zip file down below. So skip the GitHub step and just use the zip file that I provided in the description. If you're watching the playback, you'll have access to that as well. So inside of here, let's open up the project. So this is organized. You go to the source directory. This is where all the source code, the human readable code, goes for the project. It's broken into two parts. The back end, this is where the smart contracts are. Okay. So you'll see the contracts inside of here. You'll see nft.sol. Okay. This is where the smart contract for the token is. We'll dig into that in a second. Let's get the tour, the overview here. We have some scripts. This is how we'll create our NFTs. We'll actually mint the tokens this way. We've got some migrations that put the files on the blockchain. And then we have a front end, okay? We have a front end where that's where components are. This is where we have the website code. Okay, so we'll go over some of those details in a minute, but we'll get a quick tour. The next thing to notice is the configuration file. So truffle.js, this is the file that connects our actual project code to the blockchain itself. So we're going to connect to multiple blockchain networks. That's what's cool about this particular app is you can put it on multiple blockchains. You can put it on a test blockchain like we're running on our computer. We can put it on the Ethereum mainnet. You can put it on a test network, a side chain, which we're going to talk about later. Okay. So that's what this file does. It basically just says, hey, if you want to connect to your development blockchain, which we're running here, use this network. If you want to connect to the Kovan test network, use this network. You want to go to the Ethereum main network, use this work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. It's got a little more configuration in it, but that's the idea. So that's a really quick tour. The last thing I want to mention is the package.json file. This is where all the dependencies for the project are. Okay, so when we're talking about like Web3, that's where you tell your Web3 version, IPFS, there's the IPFS version, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So let's keep going here. Somebody says I'm a total noob, might as well speaking Chinese. So I think the important parts will come up. Okay. I think the important part is that if you follow the, I'm giving some overview here about, what the big picture is for people who kind of understand the code. But as long as you are following the steps step by step, you should still be able to get the result. Okay. I'm giving a lot of extra details, but the important part we've done so far is take the code, run the exact commands that are in the setup steps there, open the project. I'm going to tell you like what you're looking at here, and I'll show you the specific places to customize, okay? So let's start off with the token. So So I'm going to customize this token live tonight. Source backend token. So this is the smart contract that governs the entire token. So you might realize that this is not a ton of code. That's because this uses something called the ERC 721 standard, and it uses Open Zeppelin to build this. So I talked about how ERC 721 is mostly a solved problem. Well, you can use something called Open Zeppelin to use a library to get a lot of this code done for you. Okay, so that's what Open Zeppelin is. That's what we're going to use tonight. We're just going to import ERC 721 like this. If you wanted to create a minimally viable ERC 721 with no extra behavior, this is exactly what you do. Okay, and then you can just mint token like that. So that's what we're going to do in the code here. Again, I don't want to get too step by step into the coding type stuff. If you want to do more of that, we can talk about that later, but I want to get mostly the setup. So the important thing to know here is that ERC 721 tokens have two basic pieces of functionality. So a name and a symbol. Okay, so when you see it in your wallet, these are two important pieces of information: the name and the symbol. So let's come up with a token name. I'm going to poll the audience here. So what should the name of our project be?
Kind of depends on the art you're putting into it too, right? Will there be some specific art that we upload?
We'll use the default art. We might change some images. We'll just have some fun. So who has a good idea for a name? Let's see if the audience has anything to say here. Dizzy. Project Rolodex. All right, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
I'm very unoriginal in mine. I have Your Collectible. That's what I named it. And like YCB. Not a very good name and symbol.
Awesome. So somebody says, I'm worried if, yeah.
Wow, it's blowing up now. Dang.
Yeah. It's got some funny names in there. That's awesome. I like Hodl. Okay, let's do that. How about Hodl Gang? You guys know that video? That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, we're gonna do Hodl Gang. So go look up Hodl Gang on YouTube. I'll put it in there. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. So this token's gonna be called Hodl Gang. And the symbol is going to be HODL. Okay, so that's the whole idea. Is your token collection has a name, right? We're going to call ours HODL Gang. All right, as I'm customizing, this is where you change it in the code. The big picture is if you want to customize your token, here's the place in the code to do it. Just change your name here, then change your symbol. Okay. So let's go ahead and put it on a blockchain. So we'll explain more of the code here in a minute, but now that we have customized our token, like all the code's already written for you, we can go ahead and put it on our test blockchain here. That's what Ganache is. And we'll do it like this. We'll say, let me look at the actual command, make sure, because I'm using different truffle mode here. So you don't have to use the truffle command since you're in the truffle develop mode. You just do migrate -- reset. So the reason we're using the reset flag is in case there's any old contract artifacts in there. It basically ensures that a new copy gets put on the blockchain. So this is Hodl Mafia.
It's so weird that that's the command though. The command to deploy your contracts in Truffle is migrate -- reset, not deploy.
I know. They're migrating from one place to another, I guess is one thing to think about it. Yeah, different name for sure. Okay. So now we have this particular smart contract on the blockchain. Now, the next thing that we want to do, we have the basic contract there. So let me explain how it works. So this particular contract is it's what's called a mintable token. Okay, so the whole idea here is that new tokens are created from scratch. We start with 0 and we add new tokens. So basically, like we start with 0 and then we mint a new one, and then you create another one, and then another one, and another one. So inside this token, we actually have a mint function. Okay. All right. So this mint function here accepts something called a token URI and also the price. Okay. So the whole idea here is that we're going to create new tokens on the fly. So you can create the tokens that you're going to sell as long as you provide the artwork. So we have some artwork preloaded in the project here. The whole idea is you'll put your custom artwork inside there. You'll replace what we have, and then you'll specify the price. So you see here the token URI. This is going to be the IPFS link to the metadata, which will contain the image. Okay. And then this price right here, it's going to be priced in Ether. So, basically we'll say like, token 1 will be, 1 Ether. Token 2 will be 1 Ether. So in the script here, we're going to make everything the same price, but you can customize that to a different price if you want to, okay, for individual tokens. But I'll show you how to customize the actual artwork itself. Okay, so we'll just I'm going to open the project here and let's see here. So if you look in the project, you go to source images. Source backend. Let's see here, scripts, gallery. Okay, you'll see some images in here. Okay, so what you want to do is replace these images with your images. We've got custom artwork inside here. So basically, you'll take your NFTs that you want to create your own digital artworks, and you'll actually put them inside of here. Okay. So these are our stock images, our stock artworks for this project. You'll want to replace these with your actual images, all right? So next I want to talk about the metadata. So remember we talked about how, tokens, we don't want to put the actual images on the blockchain themselves. We want to put a reference to those tokens on the blockchain. Basically, we put the images on IPFS, and then we tell the token where it's located on IPFS. So let me show you, some of this is going to be fractions of Ether. Yes, it can be fractions of Ether. You'll just use decimal places. I'll show you where to customize that. So here's what metadata looks like. All right. So IPFS, this is an image location for IPFS. I'll just like copy this and then put it in my terminal here, or sorry, my web browser. So look, here's an image. This is the American Gothic image. You'll notice my URL bar here. It's hosted on IPFS. So IPFS.io/IPFS and this big long hash, right? That's where hashes are for. Hashes tell us where files are located on IPFS. So the metadata looks like this. This metadata is going to go on IPFS, but then there's an image that also goes in IPFS. That's what this here is here, okay? So basically, the metadata, you have a token. Well, let me see here. So it's got the price token. It's got a price, and then it also has metadata. And this metadata says like the name. Let's actually look at it. Name, description, blah blah, description, blah blah, and then the image, which is like IPFS IO/hash, ABC 123. Okay. So this metadata is this description right here. This actual metadata goes on IPFS, but then there's an IPFS image that goes on IPFS. So two things go on IPFS: the image itself, then the metadata that describes it, where the image is, all that kind of stuff. And this is an example file right here. Okay. So we're going to run a script that's going to generate the tokens for us. So what it's going to do, this script, it's going to call the mint function on the NFT, which we saw right here. Oops, sorry. This mint function right here, okay? and it's going to build that metadata that we talked about right here. It's going to first put the image on IPFS. So uploads images, builds metadata, mints tokens, and then, that's it. Uploads image, builds this metadata. I guess also uploads metadata for mints tokens. Okay. So that's what it does. It gives you everything you need to mint right here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and run that script. So once you've replaced your images, the only thing, I'm explaining everything, but the whole idea is the only things you've had to change so far is the name of the token here, the symbol. You need to open up these files, delete all these files, add your own files, okay? And then the next step for you is to run this script that mints the tokens. So we'll just copy this, go to our project here, and type exec source backend scripts mint.js, okay? So this is putting them on IPFS. So we can see that IPFS is returned. So I don't get too deep into the weeds. If you're an advanced coder, you'll probably figure this out. But for people who aren't quite, I don't want to get too heavy on how the script works. But this is the script. So it's in source backend scripts mint. What this does is it just reads the files. It puts them on IPFS. You have to have your IPFS node running to make this work. Here's the IPFS node right here, okay? It puts the images on IPFS, it creates the metadata, puts the metadata on IPFS, and then finally mints the tokens right here. All right. So I know we've gone through a lot, but I want to give you some really quick feedback so that you kind of get that aha moment before we get too far more into the technical. We're going to take a breather here in a second. Just hang with me. All right, hang with me. I want to get to one more really satisfying piece, which is actually seeing the fruit of this and watch it pop up on screen. Because I think you're gonna like this part. Okay, I know we've gone through a lot. We'll stop, maybe take a breather, let Austin chime in, answer some questions. I know he can't hang out forever tonight, but let's take a look here. So now we've started our blockchain. We've done basic token customizations. We give it a name, give it a symbol. We've replaced our artwork. We've minted the tokens, so now all the tokens exist. Now what we're going to do is open the website, okay? So I'm just going to open it. You do like this. You do, let me just make sure I didn't skip a step. Yeah, we want to open a new terminal tab and type npm start. Okay, so this is going to actually boot up a website where you can, let me just pull it over here. I'll explain MetaMask here in a second, but I really just want to give you this sort of satisfying feedback of seeing the project before we get into bogged down too much more of the technical details. All right, there we go.
Look at the app. Look at that. Ooh, it's got a cool typey effect to it. Very nice.
Yeah, totally. So that's congratulations to Peter on building that one out. Somebody has a question in the chat there. What's the difference between ERC 721 and 1155? I don't know if Austin wants to jump in on that one.
Yeah. I was thinking we would talk about 1155 a little bit. I don't know a ton about it. I can put the 1155 standard into chat. I think basically what 1155 has to do with is it's called the multi-token standard. I think it adheres to ERC 721 in terms of the same transfer function, the same ownership pattern, but it works for like multiple tokens. I know a lot of these guys on this list that made this, and they're game builders on Ethereum. So I'm guessing that this is like for like game assets where you have tons of different assets of different classes for different things, and you don't want to deploy a ton of different contracts.
Right.
One of my assumption is they've probably done some things to try to make it more efficient also. So probably more efficient to deploy lots of things and to have things be sendable and stuff. But yeah, the 721 is like the classic, and 1155 is probably like this new weird thing if you're building this, intricate game where you have tons of things. But we're minting art here. It's perfect for a 721.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I love that explanation. Thanks. Okay, so here's the website. Now, I jumped over a few steps because I wanted to give you that feedback, see something cool show up on screen. But I'll explain. We got this website here. Of course, this is just on our computer. Don't worry, we're going to put it live on the web here later. But I want to demo how it works. So in order to use this, of course, people can see the NFTs here. They're all for sale. You can see the name. I'm just going to zoom in here. We see each piece of artwork has an ID. So you can see token number 1, token number 2, 3, et cetera, et cetera. There's a link to the URI, so you can see the actual metadata here on IPFS, okay? So there's the price for each token. They're all 1 ETH. And we can buy it, okay? So I'm going to click buy it. Open my account MetaMask. This is on localhost. This is all fake Ether, so it doesn't cost anything for me to do this, but I'm going to buy it. Oh, sorry, I need to reset my MetaMask. Well, let me go ahead and talk about MetaMask, okay? Because I jumped over that step, but I want to just demo this so you guys can get some nice feedback and see how it works. So this is a blockchain-enabled website. It talks directly to the blockchain. So in order to use it, you have to have a blockchain wallet installed. Most browsers don't connect to the blockchain out of the box. So you have to have a blockchain wallet installed to connect to this website and actually use it. So we use something called MetaMask. You can go to the Google Chrome Web Store and just search for MetaMask, install it, and it'll work pretty much out of the box. Now, you need to connect to this particular website for development purposes with specific networks. You'll go here, you'll change networks, click the network selector. You might see Ethereum mainnet out of the box, okay? You want to go down here and do custom RPC. All right, we've got the instructions for that here. You want to use this network, localhost and 9545. So we'll say I call it truffle. Localhost 9545. Chain ID is 1337. These are all the instructions that I'll link to down below. Currency symbol, I use ETH. All right, click save. It's already in use for me. You'll just have the save button in blue here. Okay. That's how that works, okay? And then the next thing you want to do is import your account. So you'll want to go to this right here, okay? And, oh, sorry, the truffle file over here. No, sorry, too many tabs open here. Yeah, go to the top of your truffle file, find your private key, copy it, all right? And then you'll import your account inside MetaMask like this. So go to settings, go to import account, paste in the private key. You don't share this with anybody, click import. I've already done it, so it's not gonna do anything here. But once you do that, you'll select that account in MetaMask, and you should see, select your truffle network, and you'll see some cryptocurrency in your account. So I need to reset my account. You may not need to do this. Let's see here. All right, so let me show you the buying. So they go in here and click buy. MetaMask pops up. I send it 1 Ether. I'm going to increase the gas fee. Okay, you see a congratulations. You've received the NFT. All right, boom, there you go. Automatically refreshes. So now we own it, and it's in our wallet.
Hooray!
Awesome. So let's see how we're doing on time here. We got a lot of stuff to explain, but I want to make sure that Austin has a chance to talk about the side chains. So how are you doing over there, Austin?
No, you keep going, man. Yeah, I'll take 10 minutes at the end. We'll deploy something to a side chain when you're done, but you keep going. I say let's keep rolling. I like it.
Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure I'm making I don't want to take advantage of your time here tonight.
We're good. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Awesome. So let's see here. All right. So let me explain how the purchasing works. So people purchase your, let me explain two things. First of all, let's talk about the price. So if you want to change the price of your tokens, you can go inside this script. Okay. So this mint.js script, and there's a lot of code here. So if you're not familiar with coding, this might be kind of scary, but you can find the exact thing that I'm looking for, and just change it. So on line 44, you go see this thing over here, the price. I know this is kind of hard to read, but you see this Web3 utils two-way. So this is 1 Ether. This is the price. Okay. So 1 Ether, that's pretty easy to read, 1 Ether. So if somebody said fraction of Ether, yeah, you can just do like 0.01 Ether and it would work just fine. Okay. Your fraction of Ether, you could do 5 Ether. All right. Now, if you want to like make them all priced individually, you need to customize that a little more than that, but that's the whole idea. So you can change the price that way. Let's talk about how the purchasing works. Okay. So again, the token contract is going to be responsible for the sale too. The whole idea is, you have a user here. All right, they send ETH. They take ETH from their MetaMask and they send it to the token contract, and the token contract sends them back the specific token. That's exactly what I did here. I clicked on, buy. All right, when I do that, I'm talking directly to the token contract. I send it 1 Ether, okay, and it sends me the token back, all right? And so now I own both of these digital pieces of artwork. Okay, so let's look at the contract and how it works. So basically we have a buy function inside of here, and what it does is it runs some quick validations to make sure that a token exists. I'm not going to get too advanced into the code here. All right, there's going to be lots of coders in this program who already understand most of this stuff, but I'm just give you a high-level overview. So it just validates the purchase, make sure that you're not trying to buy the same token or something like that twice. Make sure that the price is correct. If you don't care that much about the code, don't worry too much about this. All right, but the whole idea is that it validates the purchase. It trades a token, so basically it transfers a token to the user. That's what this line does. It gives Ether to the person who deployed the contract, and then it marks the token as sold. So now let's talk about one really important thing: is the ownership of the contract itself. So the token contract has an owner. This is an important thing to bring up. All right, and this owner is the person who receives the ETH whenever the MetaMask user buys the token. So the MetaMask user sends ETH to token contract gives MetaMask user token, and then it forwards the purchase, the Ether proceeds to the owner. So smart contracts can have owners, okay? So if you go inside of this particular contract, you'll see this thing called ownable right here. That's because whenever we create the smart contract, we now become the owner of that smart contract. And how this code works is it gives the funds that are purchased to the owner of the smart contract. And also it's important to note that the owner is the only person who can call this mint function right here, okay? So if you're creating new tokens, only one person can do it. It's the owner of the contract. Now, I'll show you at the end of the class. You can basically prevent more tokens from being minted, so that, like, let's say you want to have a scarce collection, you could renounce ownership from the contract, you know what I mean? And that would prevent any further minting. Or you could update it to say, like, we can end minting. You could say, like, minting finish or something like that. I'll talk about that later, but that's something that's important to know. So if you have an Ethereum, you need to specify an Ethereum account that's going to receive the funds from the sale. You need to make sure you deploy a smart contract from that exact same address. That's who's going to be able to mint the tokens, and that's who's going to be able to receive the money. And I'll show you how to add that with your dev wallet here in a minute. Okay. So I think it's actually a pretty good segue into into putting the contract on a different network. Okay. So we got a couple more steps after this. So we've now set this up on our computer. We have a blockchain running on our computer. We have the website running on our computer. That's sort of our smoke test to see that it all works properly. But now we actually want to put it out there in the world. Okay, we want to get it off our computer. We want to, let other people see it. At the very least, we want to put it in a testing environment that's off our computer. We don't have to risk any real money. So let's say you don't want to spend any real money to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it here in a second. But if you want to spend real money and let other people give you real money, you can also do that. We're going to talk about some ways to do that momentarily. So the first thing we're going to do
helps you get it in other people's hands, right? If you want to show it off or you want to see how people use it, it's so hard to do that with a local host network, and it's so easy to do that with a public Ethereum network, right? With a public test net, it's publicly available for anybody to use. You can send stuff to people. You can deploy a website that talks to that public network. When you're on local host, you're kind of playing in your own world, and that's great for iterating and testing, but then you want to go to a test net to be able to put it in people's hands and see how they use it and kind of figure out the UX.
Perfect. Yeah, that's spot on. So that's what we're going to do. So the next steps are we're going to deploy to test network, and then deploy to a deploy website. Okay. So for a test network, we're going to use something called the Kovan test network. So you can go to like kovan.etherscan.io. So kovan.etherscan.io. This is an Ethereum test network. It works a lot like the regular main Ethereum network. It's just that the money on here isn't worth anything. It's faster. It's not as secure, all that kind of stuff. But it's there so the developers can just push stuff out there and play around with it without risking any real money and see like kind of how it works in the wild. Okay. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use Kovan test network. The first thing you want to have is a specific account. Okay. So remember I was talking about you want to have an owner account here. Okay. This is who's going to deploy the contract. This is going to be responsible for minting the tokens. This is who's going to be responsible for receiving the funds. So you want to specify a really specific Ethereum account for this. Okay. So there's lots of different ways to do that. I highly recommend that you absolutely do not use the accounts from Ganache. Okay. These are totally insecure. Anybody who's watched this particular video with the exact same mnemonic has access to these private keys. Do not use these, okay? There's lots of different ways to generate them. The easiest way that's somewhat secure is basically just go into MetaMask and click like create new account right here. You can just create a new account. You can export the private key, right? So I'll just like basically show you how to do that. There's other ways to do it, but that's a pretty simple and it's reasonably secure. So let me just pull it up on screen. So once you click that create new account button, you can just go to, let's see here, account details, click on export private key. It'll ask you for your password. I'm not going to do it right now, but it'll show you the private key for your account. Okay. And you want to keep that handy. Okay, because you want to keep track of that account. That's who receives the money from the sales. That's who deploys the smart contracts. And now we need to fund this account with Ether because we have to pay for transactions. Now we have to pay to put the smart contract on the network. So if you're doing this live on Ethereum mainnet, right, you'll need to fund your account with some real Ether. You know, website like Coinbase.com, get some of that, fund your wallet. If you're on a test network, though, I'll show you to get some Ether for free. Okay, so take that address, and then we're going to go these setup steps here. We're going to, let's see here, where's the Kovan steps? We're going to go to this thing called a Kovan faucet. We can get some Ether for free. Oops, sorry. So let's see here. I thought there was a Kovan faucet that you didn't have to use for with GitHub. Austin, is there a Kovan faucet where we have to log into GitHub?
I'm looking right now. I mean, I can send you Coven, but the point is to show everybody how to get some more Coven.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a Coven whale.
Yeah, I got
my Coven took me to the same thing. I ended up at this Git. No one
yeah,
wants to go to a Gitter. What is it,
yeah,
2013?
yeah. So unfortunately, there will be kind of a pain in the butt extra step here. You could use a different test network there if you wanted to. Okay, you could replace any of these steps. You in your project is set up to deploy to different test nets. So if you have the truffle-config file here, let's see here, or truffle.js file, there's the Rinkeby test network, there's the Robston test network. Okay, I'm just going to do Kovan. So really, you need to log in. You need to sign up for a GitHub account. Go to this page, basically paste in your Ethereum address here, and they'll send you some Kovan test ether. So I was hoping there was I was hoping we could do it with one that you didn't have to log into something, but unfortunately, that's what you got to do here.
Civil resistance. They got to have civil resistance.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So let's see.
Do you want me to just send you some, or are you actually pasting it into the Gitter, or you're just gonna cover it?
I've got plenty of Kovan ether. So yeah. So the next thing we want to do is import. Our Truffle project needs to know about this owner account here, who's also going to be the deployer. I'm going to say also, aka deployer. All right. So this account is going to live inside of our project. All right. So what we're going to do is create something called a .env file. So this is where we keep secret information inside of our project we don't want other people to know about. All right. So you'll see this. I thought we had a .env.example file in here. Let me just pull it off the screen. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Hold on, everybody. So basically, you want to create a new file. You want to go to File, New, and then you want to create something called a .env file, right? Save it. Save it right here inside your project. All right, just click Save. You want it to appear right here. So this thing called .env, all right? And hold on a second. Just want to really make sure I don't accidentally reveal any private keys on screen. You want to add some variables in here. So these are just settings for your project. This is where secret information goes. So you want two different settings in here. This thing called Infura API key. So I can blow this up. You can see it. INFURA. This is all capitals. _ API _ key. Equals. And then private _ keys equals. And what we're going to do is paste that private key from MetaMask inside of here. So I'm not going to actually do mine because it's just bad practice to show private keys on screen. So ABC 1 2 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's where your actual private key would go. And then next we're going to fill in this thing called the Infura API key. So I know we're covering a lot here. We're moving really fast, but this is the nature of the masterclass is just getting the results, not everything 100% step by step. Let's talk about Infura. Okay, so in order to put this smart contract on a public test network we're talking about, we need a connection to it. That's what Infura is for. So Infura lets you connect to the blockchain without running your own Ethereum node. We're running an IPFS node here, which is pretty easy to do. Running an Ethereum node is a pain in the butt. Like you can see Austin's ETH2 node back there. Yeah, we should have introduced the ETH2 node at the beginning.
Well, usually it sucks up all my bandwidth and things get choppy and I have to turn it off and it's a good conversation piece, but it's been hanging out pretty good over here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Probably made some money back here.
Yeah, that's Austin's Ethereum 2.0 validator back there. So anyways, you can go to infura.io. All right, you want to sign up, go through the setup steps. It's free. It's super easy to use. All right, and then whenever you go to your dashboard, you'll want to basically see see your projects here. All right, you can create a new project like this. You'll go inside of that, and let's see here. You can go to your settings. All right. I'm going to not show my settings on screen, but you go to settings and you'll see some links in there. Okay, I'll describe them on screen because I want to show you my actual API keys. You'll see something that says endpoints. So you'll click on, they all have the same project secret. So you'll see something that says project secret there. Copy that project secret. All right, go back to your project here. And then for your API key, you'll paste that code here. So ABC123. All right, so that's what you fill in. You fill out the private keys for your MetaMask wallet, fill in that for your API key secret here. Now that we have these two pieces of information, we have our private key so we can deploy the project, and we have a connection to the blockchain with this Infura URL. So I'm going to pull this off screen. I'm going to actually put mine in here. Don't want to reveal them on screen. Okay. And also, you want to make sure that you have funded your account with some of that Kovan Ether if we're going to go to Kovan Test Network. Okay. So let's put it out there. Let's do it. Let's ride. All right. So we'll go back to Truffle developer console here, and we'll copy this command. So type migrate -- reset -- Kovan. So -- network Kovan. So that specifies the network we want to go to. All right. So it's compiling the contracts. So we're basically, now that we have all that stuff set up, we've configured the project to point to the Kovan test network. We have a connection to the blockchain. We're just going to rerun through all the steps we've already done. You know what I mean? So we deployed locally. Now we're deploying to a test network. So all we have to do is rerun the same commands to a different location. Okay. Taking out in the chat here. How's everybody doing?
For a bit, I was trying to answer questions, but then there were so many that I couldn't even, like we almost need threads or something, or like some kind of like clubhouse after this that we can all wrap in or something.
Yeah. I don't even have a Clubhouse account yet.
I got you.
You want? Okay, you can hit me up after this. Okay. All right. So let's see. Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, I saw like an issue there. All right. So the smart contract is now on the blockchain. So now we put it on Kovan Test Network. We can actually take a look at it. Here's the contract address. You can copy it. You can go to kovan.etherscan.io, paste in your contract. And there you go. There's the contract. So now let's actually mint the tokens. So we run the exact same script that we did before. All right. So we just do exec source backend scripts mint. Oops, sorry. I think I copied and pasted some extra stuff in there, but it's okay. It'll still run the script. Copy pasting some junk. But yeah, you just copy this, paste it in your terminal, and you can see the tokens minting here to IPFS.
That's what I thought.
Oh, sorry, my Siri just went off. Austin, you still good on time, buddy?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great. This is good. I like the speed here. Like I feel like in a lot of my videos, I'm like speed run flying through things, just like crushing things. You're taking time, you're explaining things, you're taking deep breaths. It's foreign to me, but I like it.
Yeah, some people say they're having a hard time keeping up. Yeah, I recommend trying to watch the replay if you really want to try to keep up with everything. Especially when you watch things twice, you know what I mean? Like, it really helps things. When you get the overview the first time and then you actually try to follow the instructions, because then you have context for what you're going to do.
Absolutely. Going back to that speed run idea, I like to watch a speed run of someone. I'd like to see someone do it really quickly, and then I like to spend an hour on it. And then when I get good at it, I like to do it again in a speed run form. So like try to get to the speed run that other person did. Really kind of going back to, you really, really learn something after you teach it, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Go through, run through, get it done, do it again, and then teach it to a friend. And then at that point, you will be an expert.
It's crazy, man. So it's like the Feynman technique is basically what it is. Somebody says, thank you. We watched the replay. They had to watch it like 20 times. That's okay. So Stacy's gallery. I'm assuming Stacy is an artist here if she has a gallery name. So the good news is, Stacy, if you need help with your NFT project, there are probably lots of people in this chat here who would be more than happy to work on a real project. I'm sure lots of people here working on cool stuff already, but there are definitely people who are kind of like, chomping at the bit to get their first project out there. So you might make some connections here tonight. All right, so our NFTs are almost done. Yeah, they're done minting now. So now we can go back and look at our contract on Etherscan. And boom, there we go. Got a whole bunch of tokens in there. All right. So we can see that all these tokens were minted. Okay. We can look at the transaction hash. Huddle gang. All right. All right. So token ID number 20. We can even look at this particular token. So Etherscan is being kind of slow here. Okay, awesome. Yeah, very cool. So we have new tokens live on the network now. All right, so we have now put the token on the network. We've minted tokens on this test network. We put them on IPFS. It's out, like the back end is out there in the wild. We're talking about the app being a front end and a back end. The back end's all on the blockchain. The back end part's totally done. All the back end part's done on the test network. Now we want to talk about the front end, okay? So we can go over to our app here. Go back to localhost 3000. And you'll want to change your MetaMask. So you want to change it to the Kovan test network, okay? And you'll probably want to refresh. You'll see Kovan come up here. All right, I have no Ether. So now I'm going to change from the account that I was using in Ganache to the actual account that I deploy the project with. So let me just change that. I'll do it off screen. It's pretty easy to change accounts in MetaMask. I'll just show you how to do it, and then I'll change it myself. You go up here, you click this little icon, and you can scroll and choose whatever account you want to. So I'm going to find my actual account that I just used. And let's see here. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, so I've changed accounts. You can see it here. Now I'm on the Kovan test network. You can see the network selector up here. You can see the net amount of Ether in my wallet. Here's my account. So now I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy a piece of digital artwork. I'm going to up the gas price just to make it fast. It won't make much difference on Kovan, but that's okay.
It's more superstition than anything.
Is it?
Gas on test nets.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. No, I'm superstitious about it too. If I'm doing a live demo, I 10x that thing.
Yeah, it's like, let's do it nice and easy, right? It's just, all right, it worked. Very cool. So we can see it changed here. It's sold. Now we have our ID here. We can see the transaction here on Kovan. So it'll take a second for it to mine. Yep, there we go. Transfer. HODL gang. Here's the contract. Awesome. Boom. Very cool. So backends there. We can talk to the backend locally. Now let's talk about how to put the website actually on a live network so that you can use it. Okay.
And technically, it's fully decentralized at this point, right? Like
Yeah.
basically, anybody can go and talk to that smart contract. All they need is like a little bit of ETH and basically an internet connection. And if they're just doing a read only, very censorship resistant. Like that's you need to be a peer on the network, and you ask for any of these values, and you can get the ownership of each of these tokens.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because the lifeblood of our project is on the blockchain. The images are on IPFS. It's totally decentralized at this point. No one can control this anymore. Right? It's out there. Our website is really the only centralized point of this entire thing. And you don't even technically need this website in order to purchase tokens. You don't need it to look at the images. I'll show you other ways to look at the images. We've got some bonus content on how to make this website more decentralized and actually put it on IPFS. But for now, we're just going to put it on a centralized web server because it's really easy. That part's not as important. Okay, plenty of other NFT websites have centralized websites too. It's not like against the rules or anything like that. Sometimes it's just convenience. Other people are used to going to regular websites to look at things and purchase them. It's pretty standard. It's easy. It's not as important as your token being decentralized and the actual images themselves. So we're getting something called Surge. So let me just pull that up. Austin actually tipped me off to this. It's pretty nice.
It's funny. So I was just thinking about all of the technology in my stack and all the technology in your stack, and it shows how the ecosystem is very decentralized because they're different, right? But like they all do the same thing. Surge is the one thing that we have in common, and I was just going to joke about that, but I guess you picked up Surge for me.
Yep.
It's such a powerful tool. It's so good.
Yeah, Surge basically is going to let you just deploy your project really easy. Like it's just a few commands from the command line, and you don't have to create a GitHub repository. You don't have to create a remote server account or anything like that. I mean, you technically do, but it just happens it's very frictionless with Surge. Okay, so I'll show you how to set it up. We've got the instructions.
And it's good for
here.
sharing with one friend, but it's going to fall over if you announce it and hundreds of people go try to hit it.
Yeah, totally. So you may want to use IPFS or something like that. I'll show you how to do that here later. You may want to set it up on a better server or something like that. It's more performant, but this is going to let you get your project out there pretty quick. Okay. So here's the instructions. So the bonus instructions for IPFS are here. Okay. We're not going to walk through those all right now. But we're going to do Surge because it's nice, quick, and easy. So you can go to your project, do npm run build. So basically this creates, it takes all the front end code for your site, and it creates a big old blob that's a lot easier to go on a server rather than run on your computer and have to constantly turn into browser code. Austin can probably explain it better than that.
No, that's a great way. It compresses it into a static website, right? This will take a little bit though. I feel like when I run this, it takes a couple minutes on my stuff, but maybe it's because my React has a bunch of components. Oh no, that was quick.
Yeah,
mine's way slower than that.
That's okay. Yeah, this is a pretty light project. So that just builds it. It creates a big static file. It's going to go out on the web. Okay. And then you can, I'm just going to do the nice and easy way. Let's just go ahead and enter into the build directory, and then we'll just install. I don't think Surge is in the project, so we're just going to install it right now. You can npm install -g Surge. I've already done this step, so we're going to skip it for now. But you want to make sure that finishes. And then we just type Surge. Okay. So let me just see. The first time you do it, it'll ask you for a username and password. All right. If you've never created a Surge account before, it'll just create one for you. Okay. And then it'll just say email, password, enter in your email, just like a registration email, and then a password. I've already done that, so it's already logged me in. But you basically just hit enter. It'll give you a domain. Hit enter. And it'll deploy. All right, boom, there we go. So here's the website URL. futurativemarble.surge.sh. Moment of truth.
Furtive? It's furtive, right?
Furtive. Sorry. Furtive marble. Yeah, there we go. Boom. So let's log in. Yep.
There. Kovan we need, right?
Yep. I'll put the link in the chat here.
Oh, I got you. I got it.
Oh, it's going to be a race. It's going to be a race to buy the NFTs. So I'm going to buy another one here. Click buy. So we'll see how fast these NFTs sell out. Hey, we should have just launched a real project, on the stream tonight.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we still can. There's time left.
There's time. That's right.
So we're on Kovan. I'm going to go buy one too. I'm looking at...
We should have just created like a payment splitter and everybody submitted their Ethereum addresses. Right. And then we just launch it. And then we make the live stream live on YouTube and have like 10,000 people watch the video. And then they FOMO in and we all get the profit.
Okay, I just bought 2 of them. Congratulations, you've received NFT with ID number 6. Nice. Dope. Yep. You can see 34AF is that's AustinGriffith.eth is that controller or that address.
Nice.
No ENS resolution.
Nice. Yeah. Sorry.
Just giving you shit.
That's awesome. Okay. So now the site's live. So one thing about Surge is it does support custom domains. So if you want to, if you want to use this, you can add a custom domain for it. So they have instructions on how to do that. Let's just see here. Go to docs. Yeah, adding custom domain. Those are the instructions on how to do it. Okay. So we've done other stuff. We've done other deployment strategies. In the boot camp, we use Heroku. We've done, what is that one called that we use for the other masterclass?
Maybe Vercel?
No, Fleek.
No.
Fleek.
Yeah, Fleek. Yeah, Peter's got me. Yeah, Peter's chimed in for the win there. Fleek, yeah, because it deploys to IPFS as well with one click. It's pretty awesome. All right, so now what I want to show you is how to add it to your mobile wallet. Okay, so I have done this already. I've recorded it ahead of time. I didn't want to try to fumble through using my mobile phone live on the stream. So I'm going to play your pre-recorded video. It's pretty straightforward. Basically what we're going to do. All right. So now it's MetaMask mobile. So if you go to the website here, the first thing you want to check out is basically you want to look at the token IDs. So you want to get the IDs of your token that you purchased. And then you want to copy this smart contract address. So you probably just want to text this to yourself on your phone, just the smart contract address. Don't text your private keys or anything like that. Okay. Just text it's okay to text the token smart contract address. And then just look up the ID of the token you purchased. Okay. And then let's see here. Austin, tell me if you can hear this audio coming through. All right. So now I want to talk about how to add your collectible. Okay. So
it's turned up and washed out, but it's great. You may want to turn it down a tiny bit, maybe not. You got it. So no, it's probably fine. It's not that bad. You should just go. I shouldn't have even said anything.
That's just okay. Play. No, it's okay. It's okay. Honestly, I can just scroll through and show you what to do. I can just scrub to the video and it'll show everything. So nice. This is available. So basically, you want to download MetaMask for mobile. So we're using MetaMask for desktop. You can just Google MetaMask for mobile in the Google Chrome Web Store. Not Web Store. Any of your app store of your choice. So Android, Apple. It's available. So you want to walk through the setup steps of importing your account and all that kind of stuff. That's all, you can just follow those instructions inside there. But the whole point is you take that information I just showed you, text yourself that token address and then look up the ID on the website. And then you want to change the network. So up here at the top, right here, you can change the network to Kovan test network. Okay, so let's just do that. Yeah, so you change it from Ethereum main network down to the Kovan test network. All right, so now you're connected to Kovan, which you can see here. Okay, then now you'll go over to this collectibles tab right here. All right, if I finish, and then you'll click this add collectibles button here. You'll paste in that address that you texted yourself. That's the token address on the website. And then you'll put in that token ID that you just purchased, okay? And then you click done. All right, and then you'll see your collectible pop up if you refresh, and then there you go. So yours will say whatever you customized. Click through to it. You can see the actual piece of artwork here. Click on it, and there you go. You can see the NFT collectible artwork inside of your wallet there. So that's how you can.
Totally third-party wallet totally respects your brand new token that they know nothing about because it adheres to that ERC 721 standard.
That's right. Yeah, totally.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's perfect. No, I like that. I think that's in case that wasn't clear to anybody, I think that's an important point to reiterate home, because we could have like not even like created the website, right? That's saying the website's a centralized thing that's not really that important. This wallet's also a centralized thing that's not, at the end of the day, that important. It's about what's on the blockchain and what's on IPFS, and this is just pulling this information off the blockchain. So think about like, if we used NFTs for gaming or something, and you got like an in-game item, that video game doesn't matter anymore. Like you can go take it off that video game and put it in your wallet because it's on the blockchain. You know what I mean?
Composability. Woo.
Yeah, that's right.
We about ready for a side chain?
Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about side chains. This is what we've been waiting for with Austin. So what you can do now is you can take your project and deploy it to a number of environments after this. So talk about a couple different strategies. We'll definitely get into the side chain part ASAP. But let's just talk about a few different strategies. So we've put our contract on a test network. I highly recommend you deploy to the test network first, no matter what you decide to do after this. If you only want to make this a playground for learning purposes and share it with your friends, you can stay on the test network. You don't have to move beyond this step at all, okay? But if you actually want to sell digital artwork in the real world or sell collectible, there's really one or two options. There's to go to the Ethereum mainnet. This will be expensive. I'm 100% transparent with you. Okay, this is going to be expensive because the gas fees are high on Ethereum right now. This will cost you several $100s to do this. You're going to have to go to an app. You have to go like Coinbase, like I said, fund your wallet with actual cryptocurrency, deploy the contract to the network. But if you really are like trying to jump on the NFT gold rush, like that's where the high value NFTs are. It's unfortunate that the gas fees are what they are right now for this type of application. We're probably like once we get L2, layer 2 scaling solutions, it's going to make some of that stuff easier. But we're also going to talk about side chains. Okay, so this is another solution for NFTs, and we're already seeing a good deal of NFT adoption on side chains right now for this particular reason. The transactions are cheaper. The value of the assets themselves, in this case the NFTs, are less. And so it's okay. It's more okay to put this type of information on a side chain where the transactions are cheaper. It won't cost you as much to put the contract on there. The trade-off is the person buying it has to be on the side chain. Okay, so they have to hold the cryptocurrency for the side chain, and then also they own the NFT on that side chain. There's the possibility of bridges and stuff like that in the future where the NFT can be moved off the side chain back onto the Ethereum mainnet. But for now, if you're going to make the trade-off of going to a side chain, just know that that's going to be the short-term trade-off, is the person has to hold the cryptocurrency of the side chain, and then also their NFT will live on that side chain, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Austin, who is the NFT master, the side chain master, to talk about this part.
And probably one thing we should talk about is like lower security, right? Like that's what
I was implying.
Mainnet NFT, yeah, that mainnet NFT. You may want to be protected with a full proof of work Ethereum network, right? But maybe I just have like a 25-cent NFT that's more about testing and sending around or some kind of engagement, and that's way better on the sidechain.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. You mean share a screen and kind of dive into, it's kind of like Bizarro. It's kind of like Bizarro worlds, because we're going to have basically the same thing. Like smart contract looks almost exactly like yours, but a different set of tools. And it's just something that like, I do the same, the theory that you had with that zip file where, hey, here's the whole standing app and you can make small tweaks. That's exactly what I do with Scaffold ETH and all of my tooling. So I think it will transition well.
Yeah, totally. And I'll basically tell you where you change our project to do what Austin is showing you how to do. But for everybody who wants a cheaper solution to do this, but actually make it count in terms of real money, this is a strategy. So do I need to allow you to present?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see. Okay, I think This may be an issue.
It's like security in the bottom left. You go like, so screen share, chat, participants, security, and then allow screen share, I think.
Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. Security.
It's like in the middle and then far left of the middle panel.
So participants. Allow.
Or you make me the host and I do it for a little bit and then hand host back.
Okay. I just hope it doesn't. It
won't stop your.
Okay.
I don't think it will. No.
Okay, I'm gonna make you host.
Okay. Let's see what happens. All right. I think we're good. Everybody still here?
Yeah. The important part is that we're still recording. Yeah, we're still recording.
Oh, yeah. Everybody good?
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Let's see. Did I buy these? So I think I bought this one, right? Yep. That's me. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So what's up? I'm Austin Griffith. I do a lot of like developer engagement stuff. One product I have is ETH Build, and we'll dive into that in a second. But you kind of have these boxes that get like wired up, and you can see here we were talking about private keys earlier. This is where I go to generate my private keys. I just go to ETH Build, and I have a little private key box that I get from here, and I wire it up so it just generates me a random key. Everybody has their different tools, though. We'll come back to that in a second, though. Let me dive into Scaffold ETH, which is kind of the same thing as that zip file, right? It's basically a template that I've created for building applications on Ethereum, and it's set up so it's just going to work. Everything's going to stand up. You're going to have your smart contract. You're going to have your front end. You're going to have state-of-the-art tools, and then you can just kind of focus on your product and make small tweaks to it. And I think in particular, what we're going to do here is we're going to take an NFT fork of mine and we're going to deploy it to a couple different networks. But let's dive into. So let me slide over here to Scaffold ETH, and I'm actually on not the master branch, but the simple NFT example. So if you were to Google Scaffold ETH, it's going to land you in this repo. And if you go to the branches and look at NFTs, there's a bunch and a lot of cool projects coming out. This is a low-key awesome project that's going to be coming out, but simple NFT example is what we're working out of today. I've cloned that down. And basically, I have the web server running here, which is just a React dev server. Then I have my local blockchain, which was just like how you had Truffle, but this is hard hat. And then I'll have a deployer here, and then we'll have a front end here and our code here. And so what I'm going to do is just deploy it locally first. So it's same thing. It's an ERC 721 contract. I've set the name to your collectible YCB instead of going with something clever. We're putting the files out in IPFS, and I don't have a price function. That's the fun stuff. Like you want to take this and build your own price function into it. For now, I'm just allowing some owner to be able to mint. There's not even a limit here, right? So very, very open-ended NFT project that you can just fork and make some small changes to. So let's say that I'm Austin Griffith here, and I have some artwork, right? I have these paintings I made back in college, and I want to kind of mint these into NFTs onto the mainnet or onto a sidechain or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that contract, and it's all ready to go. Like I haven't made any changes yet to anything, right? I've just done a yarn start and a yarn chain. And
this is basically exactly what we just did. Yep. Everybody's familiar. This is basically the same thing. It just looks a little bit different. And the important part is here we're just putting the smart contracts in a different place than where I put them.
Yep. And I'm doing a yarn deploy. And that's going to deploy my contract, but it's also going to publish it into my front end. So if I were to go look at the debug and watch that contract address, let me do that again. I'm going to redeploy that contract. Watch this right here. We're going to see it inject into the front end. And that's kind of this helps your dev loop. And here's all the functions. If I wanted to call a mint on that, I could do it right here. Or if I wanted to check the balance of this guy, I could just go grab his address and paste it in here. And you notice how there's a nice blocky preview here. There's going to be a lot of things like that in Scaffold ETH that come out of the box. Okay, so what I've created is exactly the same thing you did, a mint.js. So along with my deploy.js that deploys my collectible, I have a mint.js, and this packages up our IPFS manifest. It uploads it to IPFS, and then it mints a collectible with that IPFS item. And real quick, if you need to debug, we've got an IPFS upload right here. There we go. I hit that, I get my hash. So now that's the hash of that thing. And I can come here and I can debug, okay, is that really what it is? And it is, okay, we're good. So there's some nice little handy kind of tools for you to kind of play around to make sure you have everything right. But let's run this mint function locally first. Basically, I'm going to mint a whole bunch of tokens with different values, and we'll see them kind of show up in our front end as we mint them. And there are my collectibles. And also, we're using burner wallets here. We don't have any MetaMask yet, but let's go ahead and send this one to austingriffith.eth. Notice we have ENS resolution, reverse resolution, the kind of nice little blocky preview. I could even hit scan and it would use my camera and use a QR code. And this is just an Ether or an address input component. So a lot of these components that you're going to build into your apps, you can pull them right off the shelf. But let's go ahead and transfer the Buffalo to austingriffith.eth and it disappears, right? We can even go look at the transfer events and see like there's this new event here. Now let me go ahead and connect with my MetaMask with austingriffith.eth. Ooh, what network? Oh, I'm on Kovan because we were over there messing around on Kovan. Let me put it on localhost real quick. Let's see what happens here. And hopefully, yeah, there's my Buffalo. Okay, nice. So we've tested it locally. We're good to go. We can mint, we can deploy. Let's go to a bigger network. So same thing you did with the -- Kovan. You can do that too. If I do a yarn deploy -- Kovan, I kind of like to get into the config. So this is the hard hat config. It's just like the truffle config. We've got exactly what you had set up with the different networks here, but really there's just this default network here. And so if I were to set this to, let's just go to Rinkeby first, and I'm going to do, so I need to check to see if I have an account, a deploy account. So just like you had to set up a deployer account, so do I. And so we generated one there. And what I'm going to do, oh, I've already sent it Rinkeby, but technically I could send it some more Rinkeby if we needed to. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to yarn deploy it for now. We'll send our contract now to a public network. So that's kind of like, when you think of it, there's like a back end and a front end satellite. We pointed the back end satellite at Rinkeby and we fired it. Now we need to point our front end satellite at Rinkeby. So I'm going to go to the app.jsx, our front end. I'm just going to put in Rinkeby here and I'm going to hit save. And now our app is going to reload and it's going to be, it's going to be noticing, hey, you're on the wrong network. I'm just going to go ahead and log out of that. I don't want to F around with MetaMask any more than I have to. So now let me go and set this to Rinkeby. And now we're going to be, I guess I didn't need to be setting that.
Yeah, and Rinkeby is a different test network like Kovan that we used a minute ago. So what we're doing here is checking out this tool, seeing how Austin builds his dApps nice and fast and scaffolding. This is a tool that he has built. Okay, we got this contract on a test network, so we've caught back up. We've caught back up to the steps that I got you to, right? He's showing you how to do it really fast with this tool. We're back up to the contract. We're at the same level now, okay? And then what Austin's about to do next is show you how to get that benefit of putting it on a side chain. This will be a live production network that'll be cheaper, okay?
So I wanted to do an intermediate step. The reason why I wanted to go to Rinkeby first is for the OpenSea integration. So one thing you want to test is to make sure that you've got this manifest that you've created, that you've put into IPFS. You want to make sure you've got that correct. So I've actually deployed these to Rinkeby first.
Let's talk about OpenSea.
Yeah, hell yeah. So, well, first of all, like OpenSea is like this dope NFT platform, right? Like one of the OG NFT platforms.
OpenSea is where OpenSea is basically like the eBay for collectibles. You know what I mean? So like this is how CryptoPunks got so expensive, basically. You know what I mean? Or like the hash masks. I mean, they were sold on their website. Basically, when CryptoPunks were first sold, they were essentially free. You know what I mean? Like you just had to just give a little bit of money for them, and they gained their value over time by selling on these third-party marketplaces like OpenSea. So if you want to create a collectible that's valued, then so
These are all my collectibles. I'm just
I'm
showing all my mainnet
gonna moderate the
collectibles.
chat here.
Oh, is something wrong?
Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
good?
just keep going.
Okay. So there we go. This is my mainnet account, but really what I want to do is switch over to Rinkeby. And what we want to do is test out, will users have this same cool experience with my token, right? So we'll go to rinkeby.opensea, and this is just, testnets.opensea. So there's a testnet.opensea, and what you can do, and I think I even put it in my contract here, I'm just going to go straight to this link right here. But it's a link that takes you to, oh, hey, what's your Rinkeby contract? We want to parse it and show your collectibles on chain. And there we go. That was it. So basically, I haven't really changed any code other than I pointed it at Rinkeby, right? So I changed two pieces to say, go to the Rinkeby network. It deployed the contract. It minted my collectibles. So then I took that contract and I pasted it in here. And sure enough, there's your collectible version 4. And this is what it's going to look like for people. And they can even click in and say, okay, what's the deal with this zebra? And if we look at our minting script, we can see, maybe I can zoom in a little bit. If I go to the zebra, it has, well, I'm going to have to, there we go. It has some attributes, right? So not only a description and an external URL and where the image is, but there's an attributes thing. And this came from CryptoKitties, but you can have attributes that are going to be more or less unique. And so I did something very simple, and I just said the background color, and all of their eyes are googly, so it doesn't even matter. But if we go look at here, let's make sure, OpenSea is parsing this stuff. And sure enough, like background color blue, eyes are googly. It says new trait here, which it didn't say that earlier. It must take some time to parse. If I go look at this guy, it's showing 33% have this trait and 100% have this trait. So it tells you how rare those certain traits are, and that helps you maybe even price whether or not this thing is worth a certain thing to a certain person. Okay, so we've deployed our thing to Rinkeby, and technically I could just like build this and push it out to Surge, and we could all go to it, and I could send you collectibles on Rinkeby, but we want to do this for real. We could go to mainnet, but I measured it earlier today, and it would be $500 to deploy the contract, and it would be $90 each time we transferred. So it would cost us like $1,000 to do a demo on mainnet. So what I'm going to do is do a real network that's actually just a little cheaper.
Yeah, so that's the whole point of the sidechain. Is basically the NFTs can be secured there. They're cheaper. The gas costs are way cheaper than the main Ethereum network. Like I said earlier, if you want, if you're mining for gold, you have to really pay some serious dough right now to put it on the mainnet. Most people aren't going to want to do that, and that's where we're going to do this sidechain solution.
Awesome. Okay, so I am going to set up this same exact deployment, but I'm going to point it at XDAI this time. So I'm going to do a Yarn account.
So XDAI is a sidechain.
Yep. XDAI is basically like a proof of stake chain, a proof of authority. There's like 20 different validators. They all have to participate in validating the blocks. It's completely EVM compatible. So exactly the same thing you would deploy to Ethereum or a testnet, you can deploy to the side chain, and it's going to work the same way. It's just going to be faster and cheaper. But remember, less secure, right? It's not proof of work backed. It's more of this proof of authority or proof of stake backed. Still, there's no way anybody's going to be able to shut this down. But there's really no way anybody's going to be able to shut down something on Ethereum, right? It's like this weird security of like, as soon as I deploy this, there's no way I'm going to be able to stop it, even on a proof of stake network, but it's still less security than a proof of work network. So the first thing I'm going to do is just do a Yarn account, and I'm going to pull up instantwallet.io, which is also, shouldn't have left that plugged in, also built with Scaffold ETH. So this all is going to have the same exact dialogue. When I hit send, it's like this same scan and send wallet that you would see if you clicked this. So let's go ahead and just send some money. Oh, wait, I don't even need to send money. We've got XDAI, we've got Matic, we've got all the side chains we need. Technically, I could send money to this, but I don't even need to do it because this deployer is already set up. So let's move straight to deploying. Now we're going to a public network of value. We're spending real money to put this contract out here. We can go here and we could go to something like Block Scout. And actually, I can just go to debug contract here, and we should be able to click this, and it should just take us right to Block Scout. Awesome. There's our contract, and it's deployed. So it costs us, let's see, can we see created at this transaction? It cost us, I don't know, I don't see the right here. So basically 0.2 penny, 0.02 cents.
Right.
$0.002, right? So you lock up DAI and you get XDAI. It kind of bridges to mainnet Ethereum, but it's a lot cheaper. While we're talking about XDAI, there's Matic also. It's another sidechain, also very popular. I don't want to pick sides. They're both good. If one doesn't work, I'm going to go to the other one. Matic and XDAI are your two side chains. Right now we're seeing, kind of this degeneration coming off of Ethereum, where people want to have these long tail NFT assets, but they only want to buy them for a couple of bucks. You got to do that on a side chain right now if you want to do that. So we've deployed our contract, right? Now I'm going to fire up, let's see. So it shows that we're on XDAI. It shows that our contract's here. Let's fire up that minter and let's mint a bunch of tokens on XDAI. Now this is going to take a lot longer, right? Like basically the validation have to happen. The blocks have to get mined. And so we have to kind of wait for that mining process to happen. But here we go. And this is like a real, this is a real app. This is real money. We can spend, I think the market cap of XDAI is like $3 million or something like that. There's plenty of money out here. One thing I'm going to do is get a yarn build started, because my yarn build is a lot longer than yours. It takes quite a while. So I'm going to get that static website getting built while we're going ahead and getting these minted. And it looks like all of them, we're waiting for one last one to get minted. Okay, so another cool thing about Scaffold ETH, when you open up, if I go to localhost to the same address, I'm going to get a different address up here. So this is what I meant by a burner wallet. Each new browser that you open up has a new private key, and it's stored in local storage, and it's signing all your transactions. So watch this. If I take this guy's address and I go to this wallet, I'm going to send this dude 25 cents, right? Oh, not 25.25. There we go. I'm going to send this dude 25 cents. And 5 seconds later, we're going to see the transactions going to see it. And we actually sent 25 cents there, right? And so if you were to open up your phone, we can do that same thing and send it to you. So we've got a real value network. Now let me go ahead and just send this dude a collectible too, right? Let's see which one. Let's send this dude and notice how that blocky preview, right? When you build an address input, you want to have that little blocky preview, so when someone pastes it in, they can visually say, oh yeah, that's definitely the right address. Go ahead and transfer it, right? Uh-oh, what's it waiting for? Okay, it took a little time. I should have a little loader. Bad UX, right? You should have a little loader there. Oh, there it goes. It disappeared from this one, showed up over here. So we're able to send these collectibles around. This is on a public network. Again, this whole front end could completely fall down and people could still buy and trade these NFTs just by talking to the contract, but it's nice to have that contract layer on top, or the front end layer on top. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Now let's see. Next, I think what we want to do is get this thing deployed to a public network. I'm still waiting for the build to happen. There we go. Perfect timing. Yeah.
Let's answer a quick question. So we have a question in here. Somebody says, how do I transfer ETH from the mainnet to XDAI so that users can buy and sell, also so that they can deploy their contracts?
Yep. So there's a bridge, basically. I think if you just do XDAI bridge, and also xdai.io is the burner wallet. It's like a classic fixture of risky Ethereum is the burner wallet. So I created this, and it's just basically a private key and local storage. Here is this account that has some money in it. Let's see. So I could
let's look at the bridge too. Look at the bridge.
So the bridge is here.
Yeah,
the bridge is here. Basically, you're bringing in ETH to DAI, or you're bringing DAI to XDAI. Let's go to the bridge on. Let's just Google XDAI.
So
bridge.
the whole important thing everybody to understand is, if we're using a side chain, it has a cryptocurrency that's not Ether on the Ethereum mainnet that has. It's like when we're talking about we buy the NFTs with ETH. Well, if you're doing it on a side chain, you're buying whatever the side chain's actual cryptocurrency is. So the users have to hold this specific cryptocurrency. Right? That's the trade-off for using a cheaper side chain. It's one of the trade-offs. The other trade-off is you, the developer, need to also purchase some of this cryptocurrency in order to deploy your contract. So you might need to buy some Ether on Coinbase, swap it for, or use this bridge right here to take your Ether and turn it into, this is probably the easiest way. This is probably what I recommend everybody do. So DAI-bridge.poa network, okay?
Yep. And one thing we'll look at here is also a custom RPC, right? We have the test networks, but then you'll have to get in and set a custom RPC in your MetaMask. And you can just search like XDAI custom RPC and it's going to give you the exact settings, but it's a different network too, right? Just like that test net. Now we've selected XDAI.
You basically point your MetaMask to a different network. He's just like he's saying, just like you would do Rinkeby, you do Kovan, you do Ganache or Truffle, you do mainnet. Now you do a custom RPC, just like I showed you how to do in the Truffle settings, but you put in the XDAI information here.
One neat thing you're talking about on onboarding is the mental model is if you want to get into XDAI, you have to take DAI and lock it up and get XDAI. But what's interesting is this is a really good way to onboard people. We have things like burner wallets. I don't know if I have any burner wallets laying around, but just like QR codes. A QR code could simply be a private key with some XDAI already on it. And this is what we did for ETH Denver. ETH Denver 2019, we did burner wallets. You would scan something, you would have a burner wallet on your phone. It was ready to go. And then you could use that burner to buy food at the food trucks. And it was like, basically we just set up QR codes, people scanned them. And we had like thousands of people with crypto wallets that already had XDAI loaded up, but just like pennies of XDAI for gas. And then some token that was for the food trucks. Then we just had a QR code on the food trucks. People walked up, scanned it, bought a meal and got their food. So really like there's also this kind of like instant onboarding you can do where you don't necessarily have to have the asset, or you could give them some of the asset at the start. So there's also that, but you're right. Really, if you want to get in here and you want to buy some art, you're going to have to like bridge in some DAI, get some XDAI, and then take that XDAI and go buy.
That's one of the trade-offs of using a side chain, basically.
Yep, exactly. I want to just send $1 to this dude just to prove I can. Totally different app, totally different setup, but hopefully this dude gets $1 in 5 seconds or whatever. Ooh, it's taking a while. There it went. Okay, cool. I was able to send $1 from my old product to my new product.
Nice.
Okay. So our site is ready to go now. I'm going to call this X animals. Let's see if X or just X animal. Let's see if it'll let me have X animal. It will. Okay. So now anybody can go to xanimal.surge.sh. So go ahead and go to that. It's probably going to crash if too many of us go to that, but go ahead and go to X. Go ahead and go to X animal. Even if you go to X animal on, let me do this. This is going to be, here we go. I'm going to paste this in here. Now you've got a QR code. So just open up your phone's camera, right? I've got my camera open, pointed at that QR code. And now you should have, oh, it just went xanimal.search. Let me make it a website. Come on. There we go. Now point your camera at that. Let's see if it goes better. Then you should have the wallet. You should have the collectibles. You should have the thing loaded up. There we go. So now what we want to do is I want to send some. You can paste addresses in here and I'll send some, but I'm just going to like copy my address on my phone. And I think it's actually just going to like move. I don't even think I need to do anything because I think it keeps my, let's see if it's pasting from my phone. Please don't be a private key or a password. I can also do this with like QR codes, but it was just a quick, easy way to get it in. I don't think it's not working. Live demo gods. Let me copy again. Try again. Go here. Oh, wait, it gave me xanimal.search. That wasn't what I wanted. Huh. Let me try this one more time. Copy this dude's address. Go over here. Hit paste. Yes, there he is. Okay, and then I'm going to transfer the zebra to him. There we go. It's on XDAI. Let's see if it shows up. Let's see. Moment of truth. Can I send it to my mobile? And if anybody else pastes any addresses in here, I will. There's the zebra on the mobile.
Nice.
Dope.
I like it.
Awesome. Okay. Then here we go. I'm going to take this guy's address. I'm going to show off his receive key. I'm going to go on this, and I'm going to hit scan. See if this works. Allow my camera. Select that. I've got the nice purpley, see that nice purpley identicon, and I hit transfer. So I moved it into my phone. Oh, this dude doesn't have any XDAI. Darn it, he needs gas to be able to send it. All right, I don't want to go through all that.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think we get the idea though.
What we have. Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So what we've seen here is how to put it on a side chain, a different blockchain where the money counts. It's real money. This is how your users, get to it. They use that bridge that we just saw a second ago. The downside is they do have to use that bridge, but it's cheaper for you to deploy the contract, but they actually count that way. Okay. So I want to, Austin, I want to take back screen if I can, because I want to show them where to update our particular project if you want to go to a side chain.
Dope. Awesome. Oh, can I show Nifty Inc. real
quick? Yes.
So NFT platform that uses a side chain that upgrades to Ethereum. So this is Nifty Inc. Nifty Inc. Basically, let me draw a thing of fire. I'm going to call it fire. I'm going to say it's a 1 of 10, and I'm going to ink it. It's going to use meta transactions. It's going to use burner wallets. Oh wait, no, it's just going to have me mint it. It's normally going to use meta transactions, but I had some XDAI, so it just let me pay for it. So normally it's free. You can just open it up on a tablet. You can type in Nifty Inc. and you have the art platform. You can ink something, and that goes onto IPFS. Got some penises here. It goes onto IPFS. And it's basically, and it's an ERC 721 that's minted to a side chain. But then if you really like a piece of work, you can buy it for $1 here. But let me go find something that I hold. I can take one of my holdings, something that I've purchased, and basically I'm buying and selling the option to eventually upgrade it. So look at this guy. I can upgrade this guy for $144 right now. That's what gas prices are at. So a simple doodle, free to make, easy and cheap to send around, instant artist onboarding, a lot of great stuff that you get from that side chain, but then it still backs to Ethereum if you really want to. That was my shill for Nifty Inc. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Let me send you. Okay, so I need to send. Let's see, where are we at here? I need to stop sharing, and then I'll make you the host.
Yeah. So I'll I'll answer a quick FAQ here. So some people saying that they have to run, but everybody who's on this stream is going to get a replay link. If you're the membership program, there'll be a replay link in the video vault. If you're, join for one-time masterclass, we will, email out that replay link later. So some people also asked about like asking questions and all that kind of stuff. So let's see. I think all good. They'll ask about asking questions. That's what is great about the membership program. We have a Slack channel in there. People can reach out and ask for help. There's gonna be plenty of people in there tomorrow who are, asking questions about their project, trying to get it set up and all that kind of stuff. So we will definitely, if you're not in the membership program, just reach out. We can get you taken care of. But that's one of the huge values of the membership program is to be able to get there and reach out, ask for help. And Peter's inside there, one who really did the heavy lifting on a lot of this coding stuff. So he's been helping me out in there a ton. So let me go back to sharing screen. Let's see here. All right, let's move this off. Okay, so we're going back to side chains. Let's talk about actually how to adapt our specific project to that side chain. So you can go in here, look at your Truffle Jest file. So I'm gonna let Austin kind of bail me out on this one a little bit because I don't know all the RPC settings for this particular network. But what you want to do basically, first you would need to fund your account that you're deploying with. You can use the same address on XDAI as you do Ethereum mainnet, but you want to do like XDAI or something like that right here. I'll let Austin kind of fact check me on some of this stuff.
Yep.
So what's the RPC URL
Your
for
RPC
XDAI?
It's going to be it's going to be dai.poa.network, and that's one of them. And you really kind of want to check out, and this is a good thing to talk about. You want to check out a couple different RPCs. POA.network, and that's going to be it. Yep. There you go. Yep. And so these RPCs have to deal with like Web 2 problems, right? When you make transactions so cheap and easy to make, like you end up having a lot of Web 2 problems. So sometimes these RPCs might not work just because like they're getting whaled on because they don't have the same protection as a proof of work network might have. But let's see. So we've got DAI POA. Your gas price is going to be 1 million, so 1 GWE. So you can change the 5 to a 1. Yep. And that looks good. Network ID would be 100.
Okay, so this probably won't be in the final code solution. So if you are going to do sidechain, you basically need to use these exact settings that are listed here. Okay, so
and we should talk about Matic too. If you just Google Matic RPC, the network ID I think is 137, but same exact thing. It's a different network. You have to have that currency, but also it's a second sidechain. It's another chain just like XDAI is. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can check out Matic for homework. We just want to give them equal representation on the stream, but I don't want to like overwhelm people with too many different options. So if you want the step-by-step instructions on how to do a side chain, then I highly recommend just going with XDAI. But if you want to get your hands dirty, definitely know that Matic is an option there, becoming Polygon soon. But these settings right here will work. So, but if you're going to do the deployment, all the other setup steps will be like, migrate -- reset -- network XDAI. At that point, or exec scripts backend mint.js -- network XDAI. Okay, that's the whole point. You change the network, and that's how you do the side chains that way. Okay, so that's how you would configure this particular project. Again, your users need to use the bridge to get the cryptocurrency. You need to use the bridge to get cryptocurrency for your own deployments. But yeah, okay. So let's jump over some Q&A here. Also, you can help us out on this one because people are talking about how to actually list on OpenSea. You want to give us some insight into that?
Yeah, so I mean, really, all I did was go to OpenSea and say add my token, and I pasted in the token address, and they parsed it and did everything for me. I think you can get in and you can add some like banners and stuff for your collection, but honestly, like it really comes down to finding the right link, and it's in my contract there too. But you just basically go and paste in your contract address,
and you can do it on Test Network, right?
Yep. Yeah, you go here and if you go to the top right, and you go to, something, I think it's develop with us even.
Is it submit NFTs?
It might be submit NFTs. It might be.
Just want to make sure people have the.
And you're on mainnet right now. You'll want to go to testnets.opensea.io, and that'll take you to the Rinkeby version. You want to probably start there. And it's fun, like going back to why sidechain, like Nifty Inks are selling right now for like $1 or $2 or $3 or $30, right? Something that like wouldn't even be imaginable if you had to pay the $80 in gas right now that you would have to pay to buy an NFT.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is it not working? Testnets.
Yeah, I'm sure
go to Rinkeby.
It's working. Oh. So, anyways, you want to go to testnets.opensea.io, connect your wallet. Go to create, submit NFTs.
There's add existing contract. Look at over in right underneath the call to action. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Yep. And there you go. You would say live on a testnet or live on mainnet, and you would just paste in your address, and it's going to get added in. That's all I did to get my stuff to show up there.
So it looks like they don't have Kovan on there.
Yep. Mumbai, it would be the testnet for Matic, by the way. And I think OpenSea is doing a big Matic integration too.
Okay. So if you want to do OpenSea on testnet, you would want to use Rinkeby. So we use Kovan on this. It's all the same basically. You just want to switch over to Rinkeby. Click on Rinkeby, you add your contract in there, hit submit. What will they see after that?
It like literally took me to the screen with all of it was amazing. Like I couldn't believe it was so fast. Nice. I pasted it and then the screen came up with all my tokens. Okay. It was awesome.
Yeah, very cool. So that's it. That's how you add it to OpenSea. Simple enough.
One thing that we haven't talked about is like kind of a cheat code, and it's a little bit more advanced, but with NFTs, all the magic is if you could go back to the contract real quick, all the magic is really in this smart contract, and all the innovation is probably going to happen like right in here, like whether you set up a price function, whether you set up a limit. But one thing I wanted to dig into is what's called a bonding curve, and it's a little advanced, but it's really, really easy for NFTs. And what you do is you set the price that we have here, you could set some kind of multiplier. And since you can't do decimals, you may do a numerator and a denominator in Solidity. But basically, you can imagine that the first one is bought for $1, but then the price is multiplied by like 1.1. And then the next one is bought for like $1.10, right? And then the next one is bought for $1.122 or something like that, right? So with each new one purchased, the actual price goes up, and you can put it on any kind of curve depending on that multiplier. And that that provides instant liquidity. If you can allow people to buy and sell at whatever that curve is at, and it's a really simple hack, it'd be like one more variable you would add to this contract. So there's so many little changes that you can make right here that would be revolutionary in the space because we're so new and we're just like figuring all these things out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this is a brand new space. I think we're going to see it. I think one of the big values of NFTs is that like whenever somebody comes up with a really cool new idea, that becomes the next hot project. You know what I mean? Because they're the first person to do blank, and then they go off like fireworks.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Any
Yeah, let's see if there's any.
Close up with?
Yeah, let's see if there's any like lingering questions. Let me just check my notes here, make sure there's nothing. So there's lots of strategies here. You could create your own unique tokens. There's people are doing the influencer tokens. You've seen digital artists do their thing where like you've made your own digital art and you want to put it on the blockchain. This would be a great way to do it too. Some homework ideas of what you can do. So if you want your contract to be a finite number of tokens, you could always just basically remove yourself as the owner. If you do that, you want to make sure that you store your wallet as a variable in here, so that if you remove yourself as the owner, that you still get the money when they're being sold. But let's just see here. Yeah, that's what I would think about as a potential homework item here. Let's see if there's any last minute questions here. We'll move into a brief time of Q&A. We're going kind of long here. We've answered several questions as they've popped up. It's been nice to have the extra hands tonight. We've been able to kind of do Q&A on the fly as we go here, but we'll answer some last minute questions and we'll go ahead and wrap it up because we've been going plenty long tonight. I appreciate you all hanging with us. I'm really glad we could do this class. It's been awesome to have Austin here. Thankfully, we haven't had to need Peter bail us out of any real bad technical problems, but he did come in for the save on one of those questions. I forgot what it was.
It was the static website. It was
right.
I don't even remember now.
What is it, Peter?
No, it was Fleek. It was Fleek.
Fleek. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Fleek.
That's right. It's awesome.
Even like NFTs. Oh man, like NFTs for insurance for certain DeFi positions, like you owning the NFT, this transferable thing you can send around. NFTs for like KYC, right? Once you KYC once, can you just have an NFT that says this person is this person and they're good to buy cryptocurrencies, right? There's so many fun things that you can do with NFTs, and really like we're probably just scratching the surface because we don't even know what can happen, right? There's so many neat things.
Yeah, totally. So I got a good question here. Somebody says, how can you remove yourself as the owner? So there is, if you look in the ownable contract, there's a renounce ownership function. Okay, this basically will remove yourself as the owner. It'll basically transfer to the zero address. So some more homework is you can verify your contract on Etherscan. We've done lots of videos on how to do that to the membership program. There's even some free ones out there on YouTube that'll show you how to do that. It's pretty simple to do. You just put your contract into Etherscan, it verifies it. You'll get a interface on Etherscan where you can just click the functions. You know what I mean? Other people can interact with that way, and that's an easy way for you to renounce your ownership yourself. But if you're going to do that, I highly recommend modify your contract so that you can basically like track your wallet so that you don't renounce the ownership and then like the zero address is now accepting money. So you make sure you want to change those settings before you renounce ownership. So I want to talk really quickly too about how to theme your website, because I know this is something some people want to do, is like change the colors. So I'll give you some ideas on how to do that. Yeah. So Austin's got to dive really soon. Let's see if there's any other questions that he wants to answer, and then I'll let him roll off, and I'll finish up some other Q&A here. You see any other questions that you want to jump in there? Let's see. you want to talk about generative NFTs?
Ooh, generative. That's a really good one. Yeah, check out like ETH block art or art block art or whatever it is. Yeah, so another thing you can do is given some block hash, you could have a generative NFT. Basically, the NFT is you don't even know what it's going to be. You hit go, and then based on the block hash and maybe some other random, you get this kind of little discovery that happens, right? And there are other things where you can kind of discover them off chain and then find a good one and then put them on chain. So many fun things you can do with generative stuff that's still kind of very unexplored, right? And the Euler Beats stuff is another good one, right? It's basically like a music pad. You have to think of this stuff has to be in storage and IPFS. So you're not storing giant things. MIDI might work, but if you think of just a music pad with the different pads and then the timing sequencer, that's all Euler Beats is, and that's what's stored. Like that pattern is what's stored in IPFS. So when you go buy that NFT, it'll play that pattern back for you. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. So let's see.
Any closing ones?
Any of the closing questions? And Austin's got to jump off the stream here.
I'm gonna dive. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Austin. I'm going to hang out and answer these last few questions, but everybody, round of applause.
Yeah, thank
Austin
you.
Griffith.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. Check
Yeah.
out Scaffold ETH. Check out
Yes.
Austin Griffith. Hit me up. I'm always around.
Yeah, check out his YouTube channel. He's putting out great stuff. Thanks a bunch, man. I appreciate it.
Word. Awesome. See you guys. Good night.
See you, buddy. So, okay, let me jump on these other questions here. And then Peter, buddy, I know it's probably getting pretty late for you. If you need to roll off too, man, I think we're all good. I'm going to finish up these last questions and I'll sign off for this evening.
Okay, thank you. See ya.
Yeah,
Bye
see you,
all.
buddy. Bye. All right, so let's finish up these questions. Somebody says, what configurations or extensions do you have in your terminal for the colors and Git info? So I use Z Shell, so OMyZSH. You can look at this. This is what I use for my terminal. Okay. I use the, I believe it's the Monokai Solarize Dark terminal theme. I believe is the one I used. So Solarize Dark. So I get that question sometimes. Okay, so let's go more with NFT questions. So if I'm using XDAI sidechain, will the IPFS be main? Yeah, so the IPFS info won't change if you're using XDAI as a sidechain. It'll work just like the same. Okay. So how do you make passive income on the resale inside the contract? So what you would do is basically you would essentially store the minter address inside of the original contract. So where you have a mapping of the basically the owners, you would also have a mapping of the you have a reference to the original creator. And basically anytime a transfer of the NFT happens, so you probably get inside this transfer function. Anytime this transfer function gets called, basically whenever the transfer from function's called, if there is Ether in the transaction, then basically you would send part of that Ethereum amount to the original owner. Okay, so let's see here. So I think I'm making a limited 1,000 NFTs was the cheapest way to deploy the whole contract to the mainnet. So it will be expensive if you had to mint 1,000 NFTs. So I use XDAI sidechain. So IPFS is this. IPFS provider is the same for if you're going to use XDAI as a sidechain. You need to use that local IPFS node that I was showing you how to run. So do music and video work the same? Yeah, they basically work the same. Okay, let's see here. So how do you do auctions? So it's a good question. The easiest way to do auction would probably just be like to do an OpenSea auction. You could mint them and then just go straight to the OpenSea auction. You could, an auction itself is going to be more complicated. Like a Dutch auction is probably what you're talking about, like where the price is dropping over time. You could bid on it. It would be a lot more complicated, where basically you would basically have a bid for each NFT, and you'd have some sort of minimum amount, and you'd have to track the time on the blockchain. We might, if people are interested in that, maybe we can do a video on something like that for the membership program. It would add quite a bit of complexity to this particular project. But you could basically mint the NFTs and then transfer them to something that does an auction like OpenSea, for example. So to have an opinion on Mintable as someone who's not a coder, I think Mintable is a pretty cool option. So, I mean, another option, is creating on them on services like Mintable, for example. The benefit here is you get a contract, you get a website, you get kind of your all-in-one starter kit to launch your own project, to have the authority, have that domain, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight, which is how to customize your website, because I think it's something a lot of people are going to ask about. So basically, if you look at the local, let's go to localhost here. Some people are going to ask, like, how do I change the colors? Okay, so you can basically some people are saying, like, I don't want a black website, I don't want green, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you how to change that pretty quickly. So basically, if you go to your source components directory, this is where all the website code is. You look at like navbar.js, you'll see this color here. Okay, so right, we can change this to like blue, or let's look up the HTX code for blue. You look up like the hex code for blue. You can look this up on Google, hex code blue, and just change this. Like if you your text, a lot of text editors will have a find and replace function. So you can look up this, find this color right here everywhere in the project, which is, I think it's the green border. Let's just look. Yeah, and then let's look at hex code blue. Let's change it to like this color. Okay, and then we'll copy this, and then we'll do replace, and we'll click replace, and we'll just say like hold on a second here. Oh, it's hold on a second. Let's do it in, cancel. Let's do it in source components. Let's just do it in the source directory. So say you H&E currency across 4 files, replace it. Okay, so navbar style loading main, and then go back to your project here. And now you can see that we have blue theme instead of green. And then we can look for the background. So if you go to main.css, Oh, sorry, let's see here. Let's see here. Style.css, sorry. Look at the background. So you look at this. So let's make a white background. You can do FFF, FFF. Let's make it capital. So replace, save, save, save. And then there you go. All right, so it doesn't look as good, right? But the whole idea is that's how you could, theme your site. Okay, you could change the colors that way. You would want to do better colors than what I just did, but that's the whole idea. You could go back to your nav bar, and then change that maybe back to the previous color. All right. You can put these back to the previous color or something. Have a dark nav bar. It's probably better to have it all in the same style sheet, but you can still get the same effect that way with the, let's just do styles, yeah. Hope that's not what I want. Anyways, you get the idea. That's how you kind of change some of the colors on your site. You can make it look different if you want like a white theme, all that kind of stuff. So for dynamically made NFTs, can you charge on Mint? So that's a good question. The problem with that is that there's no like deterministic way that all the NFTs will be created before they're purchased. So you could do that. You could basically like mint the NFT whenever it's created. So you could go to this ERC721 Sol here, or sorry, the NFT. Let's see here, NFT.sol, and you could basically do this buy function, basically take all this stuff out of here, in the mint function, you could take all this stuff out of here and then put it in here. The problem with that is the user could potentially manipulate that and put in whatever information they wanted to for the token URI, and then you'd have like some random token on the blockchain that you don't want. So the whole idea of you minting them before time is that the tokens on the blockchain are supposed to be what they want. All right, everybody. So I'm going to maybe answer another question or two here, and then we got to jump off. We're running pretty long here tonight, but I wanted to make sure everybody got all the value that they needed out of this class. Yeah, that's pretty cool about the Citadel. Awesome. All right, everybody. So somebody says, so what's the question? So it's 5 a.m. here. I didn't get answer to my question. So what is the question? Let's see here. Is it possible to fusion to NFT? Oh, fuse two NFTs into a new one. You could potentially do that. You would have to burn, and you'd have to burn one NFT and then basically you have to burn both probably and then create a new one. So basically at this mint function, if you go up into the NFT ERC721, there's a burn function as well. See this burn function? So you have to implement this burn function. So if you want to breed two basically to create a new one, you have to burn the two original ones. So you put in their token IDs, and then you would mint. All right. So then mint a brand new NFT that either replaced you could take one of the old IDs and replace it, or you could make a brand new ID and then create it that way. So I think most of the questions are answered here. Yeah. Okay, I think that's most of the questions. So again, if I'm going to go wrap it up for tonight, guys. It's been a great stream. We're going to run along here. But you've got everything. There's the resources down in the description below. If you're watching the replay, you should have those emailed out to you. Or if you're in this other membership program, everything